Okay.
I hope you fare the storm well. You're not out of the woods yet. Again, we are looking at very strong northwesterly winds. You got a lot more rain ahead of you. Probably another 2 hours or so before this thing tapers off. Okay.
Okay, when do you think the worst of the winds will be by?
I think you've got another 20, 30 minutes of the worst of the winds, then they're going to begin to taper down. But you're still going to have very strong tropical storm force winds for another hour or so. That's up to about 50 miles per hour or so, and then dying off later.
Okay.
Okay?
Glad we could help you.
All right, well, I'm glad you're safe, and I really appreciate your report. Thank you. Let's send it back over to our news desk. Craig?
We want to take your phone calls, as we've been doing for the last couple of days. 275-8820 in Lee County and 1-800-329-8820 outside of Lee County. We would like to hear your eyewitness accounts of the damage caused thus far by Hurricane Charley. And if we're able to answer any of your questions about how those damage situations that might be affecting you will be rectified in the coming days, we will endeavor to do our best to do that. In the meantime, in our computer system, as we get phone calls from the newsroom, the information gets to us in the studio. There was an eyewitness report from Bon Secours Hospital in Port Charlotte that windows have been blown out in vehicles in the parking lot, trees are knocked down, and that part of the roof has flown off. And in our note, we can speculate, which we don't normally like to do, but today there's going to have to be a little bit of that business done, that part of that roof was at the hospital, and we're told all the patients have been moved up to at least the second floor at St. Joseph's Bon Secours Hospital in Port Charlotte.
And a lot of the information that we are getting into the newsroom is information that, as Craig said, eyewitnesses are calling in. People are calling in as they're hearing it. And so we are going to go ahead and report some of this information. It's not necessarily totally confirmed, but a lot of it, you may guess, is going on. We are hearing about downed power lines at Maple and Meadow. We are hearing that there are large trees down. We are hearing that there was actually a house that collapsed out in Fiddlesticks. We have also heard that Southwest Florida has lost some lights on the runway and also the taxiways. And again, the information that we are getting into our newsroom is information that's coming across in several different ways. Eyewitnesses, and also we're getting it off the police scanners that as we hear it come in, correct?
And keep in mind that many of the emergency operations centers that we're calling, we just can't get through to them now. You heard from Heather Turkle a couple of minutes ago at the Lee County EOC, and they have apparently evacuated there. That is off of Ortez in the eastern part of Fort Myers. We're getting some phone calls, and we're going to take them in a moment, but we want to get you up to speed from the experts on the track of Hurricane Charley. Gentlemen?
It's doing it again.
Take a look at Doppler radar with us again. This is the storm's jogged off again to the north, and that's what just is really incredible. There you can see in the last few frames of our radar. Here's Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda. Let me put it in motion again. Look at that. A turn right up Interstate 75 to the north.
And now the city of Arcadia is on the powerful side of what's left of this storm. Now, clearly, this is no longer a Category 4 hurricane, but the time it's been out of water, it's still a fairly healthy 3. I would speculate that the high winds are down from 145 maybe to about 115 right now. So it's still a healthy Category 3. And again, a lot of mobile home population sitting down Fort Ogden, Nocatee, Arcadia. There's a lot of pretty mobile home parks sitting to the east of downtown Arcadia, and they're feeling some pretty mean winds right now.
Absolutely. Jim, along this course, and as the storm continues over land, as you mentioned, the winds are going to drop off. What do you think we'll be looking at when it works its way up toward, let's say, 2 or 3 counties north of this?
As it continues moving north, there'll be a steady decay of the wind. I'd say pretty much at the rate of about maybe 20 miles an hour every hour or so.
And you mentioned something interesting also. Since this storm has a tendency to keep jogging to the right, if it continues to maintain enough strength and motion here, it could conceivably pop out the other side of Florida and regenerate.
It seems to be taking the scenic route, though, and the longer it stays over top of land, the less of its structure is going to be left. Remember, this engine needs warm water to run, and you do irreparable harm to the engine if you keep it out of gasoline for very long.
Correct. All right. What's the status on Todd Jerkowski? I know we've been trying to get him on the phone. Is he still... All right. We did just talk to a viewer in Port Charlotte who was was hit right by the eye wall and popped out. He was talking about tree damage up in Port Charlotte. He said virtually, he has a very large tract of land. He said virtually every tree has been knocked down.
Okay. Well, I understand we have a bunch of people who'd like to talk to us on the phone and share their experience with us.
We do have calls, and we're going to get to them in just a moment, but I sort of wanted to lead off the questioning myself if I could here. A lot of people tonight at 9, 10 o'clock, they're going to want to go see their homes.
Yes.
What is your advice to them as to what they should do, and when can they expect some of this water that might have been caused by the storm surge, which could be in their lawn or in their living room, to begin to recede?
Well, wanting to see their homes and being allowed to see their homes are two different things.
Understand.
That's the one thing. I would imagine with the damage that we're hearing about in Cape Coral, re-entry onto the Cape is going to be difficult, if not impossible, and there's no going into Charlotte County anytime soon. That's going to be barricaded, quarantined. In areas that have gotten less hard hit, maybe the city of Fort Myers on down the road to San Carlos, Estero, Naples, power is out, and there may be some restriction. I would imagine curfews are going to go up all over Southwest Florida at sunset tonight if the power is still out, and it probably will be. So I think it's going to be a slow process. Don't be in a hurry to get back to your house. You may not be able to get there very easily, if at all.
Jamie, our producer, what was the picture we just saw from Fort Myers? Was that from here? That was the central part of Fort Myers on Central Avenue, which appears to be under a good amount of water. We have some phone calls we're going to take, so let's get to our first caller. Caller, can you hear me? Would you have an eyewitness account you'd like to share with us?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
No, I don't. I wonder if you would mind reporting a little bit more about what damages there are in the Naples area where we live. The storm has passed by, and we would appreciate knowing what the damage is here and when we might get our power back.
Have you experienced any damage?
Just power outage, that's all. We're in a retirement home in Naples, and there are any number of us here, and I'm just wondering when we will get our power back.
The vast majority of the damage reports we're getting in so far, sir, are from Lee County and from Charlotte County. As far as your power back on, I think patience would be a virtue for you, because the power outages are going to be massive. And in the past, and Jim Reef can back me up on this, with Hurricane Andrew, people were without power for a week, 10 days, or maybe even more.
Actually, people in southern Miami-Dade County were without power for 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
After Andrew.
Okay.
Now, we're not trying to draw a comparison here with Hurricane Andrew, but it would be a reasonable expectation that it will be a while before your power is back on.
I see. Well, at any rate, I accept that, and we're going to exercise patience, but would you try to get us a little report on what happened in the Gordon River, for instance, Gordon Pass, and how large was the surge there?
We have, sir, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we have our Collier County reporter, Patrick Tenney, on the phone right now, and perhaps he can get some more information to you. Patrick, are you with us? Are you there, Patrick?
Yes, I'm here.
What can you tell our caller about any damage reports in Collier, Patrick, and have you heard about any possibility of power being restored there yet? That's a premature question, I know, to ask right now.
Right. We do have several reports of power outages here in and around Collier County. Don't know the status of when power is going to be restored here at this point. But again, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of reports of power outages here. Also, a lot of down power lines, some of them live. Collier County Sheriff's Office telling us just about a half hour ago, 45 minutes ago, they're concerned they don't want people going out and by any means touching these live power lines. Also, we got a report about a half hour ago that they were shutting down Alligator Alley, at least westbound, for a little while. They want to kind of assess the damage, make sure there's not a lot of debris in the roadway there. We understand Highway Patrol is out there assessing the area right now. We're heading to Naples Park. As we've been reporting to you all day, there was some current concern there was going to be some flooding in that area. We're going to check that out now.
Okay, Patrick, I know it's early, but for the gentleman who's still on the line, and then we're going to move on to another caller, have you received any reports of structural damage in Collier County?
We were out about an hour ago in the areas hardest hit, again, North Naples, Naples Park area, the area we're about to revisit. No structural damage that we saw, just a lot of trash yards, debris all over the yards, a few tool sheds knocked out of their bases. But as far as roof damage, windows being blown in, none of that at this point. But once again, we're going to go back out, tour the county, and see if we're going to come across any damage. And of course, if we do, we'll let you know.
Patrick, thank you. And to our caller in Naples, we hope that helped you out. Let's take another call here. Hello. Can you give us an eyewitness account, or do you have a question for us?
I have a question about Lehigh.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Heard anything about Lehigh?
Are you there?
Yes,
You have concerns about Lehigh. Let's throw it over to our weather people. What do you see as being the effects of Charley on Lehigh?
Let's we'll zoom into the Lehigh area right now. You can see there's still quite a bit of rain falling in earnest throughout Lee County, and a lot of this rain is falling down at several inches per hour at a rate of that.
We will continue to monitor East Lee County, Lehigh Acres for you. Let's go to our next caller. Caller, are you there? Do you have a question for us or some sort of an eyewitness account you'd like to share with us?
We were just reporting in from South Fort Myers Island Park area.
What can you tell us?
We have a big palm tree down on top of our boat. We do have some water damage that's coming into the skylights. And we have a very large tree in the backyard that has fallen down over the swing set playground. The water in the canal is now up over covering the dock.
Okay, and Island Park is an area of the beginning part of South Lee County, south of Gladiolus and north of Alico Road, sort of in between those two major thoroughfares on US 41, and it is just west of 41, and the canal systems in there do come fairly close to the waters that are affected by tides. No structural damage, though, in that part of South Fort Myers?
None at this point, no. We have 3 children, 2 adults, and a golden retriever in a closet. So.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good way to have ridden out the storm.
Thanks again for all your helpful information.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate your call. Let's go to our next call. Caller, are you there?
Hello. Yes.
What can you tell us? And questions for us?
I'm sitting near the Collier-Lee County line in Bonita Springs. I live with water on 2 sides of me, with the Imperial River on one and then the canal on the other. Just going to report some trees down and so forth. Not major damage, no structural damage. But I just wondered what the status is of the storm surge for the Imperial River.
Jim, Robert?
Well, the good news here is that if you have not had a serious storm surge encounter to this point, you probably will not, because then now the storm is inland, the strongest winds are weakening, and if it hasn't happened to this point, I don't think you're going to have a major problem.
Were you?
That's good. Been watching the Imperial River and very concerned about the storm surge because we live so close to the water. And Gabrielle came about 3/4 up our driveway.
What did it do this time?
Pretty good so far.
Okay, so did the river come up at all that you could see?
Not considerably. We have some flooding, but it's just basically from the rain. I don't think there's any salt water laying anywhere. So.
Okay. We had a pretty good storm surge over Fort Myers Beach, just north of you. We had live pictures of that. Were you able to see that on TV?
Yes, we've got a battery out for TV. We watched it while we could, but our reception's not too good once our cable went out.
Good for you. All right. Well, you're still in a rain band there. It's probably raining pretty hard.
It's pounding and blowing still pretty hard, but my concern was the storm surge.
All right. I think you're on the improving side there as far as storm surge goes.
Okay, once again, 275-8820 in Lee County and toll-free 1-800-329-8820 outside of Lee County. Caller, are you there? Do you have a question for us or some sort of an eyewitness account you can share?
Eyewitness.
Go ahead and give it to us.
I'm in Southwest Cape off of Skyline, and my shutters have blown off my house, and the shingles around some houses around me are blowing off. The pool screens have blown off some houses from around me.
So you're saying in that part of Cape Coral off of Skyline, it was more of a wind event for your area of Southwest Florida than a rain event?
Yeah, I was out in the middle of it trying to put my shutters back on.
Jim and Robert, what can you tell us about what Charley has done so far?
A quick question to the caller. How about the canal system down in the Southwest Cape off of Skyline in those 51st, 52nd, 53rd Street area?
I don't know. I'm off Southwest 27th.
Okay, you're pretty far. Okay.
Right, and it looks like the winds died down.
Yeah, it's again, the storm is inland now, and it's moving up through DeSoto County, so we're on the downward slope slowly there. We did have automated sites on the Cape that reported wind gusts up to 90 miles an hour, so it's not surprising to hear your report of things being blown off. Did anything else major occur damage-wise?
We've
Lost her? Okay. Thank you for the call. Go ahead, Craig.
Well, let's take another call. Can you tell us what's on your mind, what's going on where you live in Southwest Florida?
I live in the Southeast Cape, and I was just going to give an eyewitness account on what all we've had.
Well, let's have another account from the Southeast Cape.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, we've had our grapefruit tree in the backyard was uprooted, roots and all. The mailbox across the street from us blew down and blew across the road.
Where in the Southeast Cape do you live, ma'am?
Across the street from the hospital, actually, the other side of the Del Prado.
Can you confirm the reports that we're getting? Although we have, I believe, independently confirmed them with authorities about damage at Cape Coral Hospital. Anything that you've been able to see there?
No, we haven't seen any. We haven't been near the Cape Coral Hospital.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about what it was like weathering the storm. Obviously, you were there as it went through.
The windows felt like they were going to come in. It was horrible. It was very windy. Shingles were flying off of our roof.
Okay. Well, where did you go in your home to stay safe?
We kind of just went into the middle of it.
Okay. And so basically you're just seeing a few pieces of shutters and some lanais blown around out there?
Yes, we have.
You know, it's unfortunate. You're listening to us on the radio right now?
My parents are.
Yeah, we have the street-level mapping system here where we're able to show you these satellite photos, and as each of our callers are calling in, we're able to basically show you these actual pictures of these neighborhoods.
Wow.
So we're going to continue to take calls. We're going to take a respite from that for just a second and get to NBC2's Heather Turco, who's live at the Lee County EOC. Are you still there, Heather, at the same facility you were at before? Because we heard reports that you had been evacuated.
We did not have to be evacuated, no. However, we were in the dark for a good 15 minutes or so and had to turn our cameras off and televisions off and everything because they were having some generator issues here, but they've got everything back up and working. So that is good news. Actually, the last time I was on the phone with you, there were a lot of people here and the lights were not on, and so I was trying to read some of my notes and was having some difficulty making sure you could hear me and that the communication was getting through, but it did, and that's good. I want to let you all know about some power outages that we're getting reports of. A lot of people are not watching us on TV, but listening to us on the radio, hopefully on their battery-operated radios. Lehigh, these numbers coming from Lee County Co-op. Lehigh, about 12,000 people are customers out. North Fort Myers, 32,000. Cape Coral, 60,000, 61,000 people there. Pine Island and Sanibel, about 14,000 people without power, and that's just from that one area that they're talking about, Lee County Co-op. I'm sure we could hear some more from FPNL, and we'll get those numbers for you too. When it comes to damage, I know you all are taking calls from people in the area letting you know what they're seeing, and what we're hearing as well in Fort Myers: trees down, a few roofs off, down power lines, obviously the reason for the power problems and power outages. Sanibel, similar situation, and in Cape Coral, once again, those reports coming from Cape Coral Hospital that we're actually hearing roofs, doors, windows coming off. So a very concerning situation there. We're going to be checking that out soon too. And once again too, at Cape Coral High School, that was kind of a shelter of last resort. And a lot of people, when they saw the storm coming our way, decided to go to the high school, and like I said, we're getting reports of thousands of people shoulder to shoulder in that high school. We're going to keep you posted on that as well. And as like I said, a lot of now after what we're going to do, the planning then with the assessment teams coming in, and we're going to find out and give you some of those numbers when it comes to insurance issues and claims and things like that. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on, sending you back to the studio.
Okay, Heather, thank you. And what Heather has just said works nicely just into a piece of information that we just got out here to the desk. The Federal Emergency Management Agency's Atlanta Regional Headquarters apparently has 10 trailers all ready to go with emergency supplies, and they're dispatching them to Florida. We understand as we speak, these trailers are actually based at Fort Gallim. Am I reading that correctly? In Forest Park. They're going to be sent on the road after, actually this report might be a little old in the sense that it says that they're going to be sent on the road after Hurricane Charley comes ashore. He obviously did. So these disaster supplies are going to include the emergency generators. I know a lot of people are wondering when the power is going to come back on. We're apparently going to get some emergency generators, portable toilets, plastic sheeting, cots, blankets, all the things that you need after something like this rolls through the area.
We're going to get to our calls in just a minute, but I want to address the concerns of any callers who might be holding in Collier County and the concern of the gentleman who called a minute ago. We have from our newsroom, from one of our producers, that the Collier Sheriff's Office is assessing the damage in the hardest hit part of the county as the winds permit. North Naples is an area of special concern. It was closer to the eye of the storm, obviously, than some other areas were of the county, as you look at pictures from central Fort Myers. North Naples has reported 9 down-powered lines, Golden Gate 7, East Naples 5, Marco Island 6, and Immokalee 5, but the power company and authorities expect to find other down power lines. Please don't go anywhere near a down power line, as they still might be carrying an electric current. All right, we're going to get to our phone calls again. Caller, are you there? Can you tell us what Charley did to your part of Southwest Florida? Are you there? Okay, we lost him. Caller, are you there to tell us about what happened to you this afternoon with Hurricane Charley?
Oh, yeah, San Carlos Park. I'm here with my wife and my 3 dogs.
How did you weather the storm?
Well, I'll put it this way. Between giving my wife and all the dogs Valium, it was pretty easy. But the backyard fence went down. The side tree went down in the backyard. The neighbor's tree went into our backyard.
What part of San Carlos Park are you in, sir?
Actually, on the good side, between Lee and the Oreo Road.
Okay, for those of you who are able to watch us on television, we're going to zero you in on San Carlos Park. What about any damage down there?
Well, there's a porta potty went flying by our house at one time. Basically, a TV went down at 2:15. So we've been sitting around listening to you guys on radio. It's been a real help, too.
So again, as was the case in parts of the Southeast Cape, you're saying that in your part of San Carlos Park, which was the good side, as you put it, this was more of a wind event than a rain event?
Oh, no, both. I mean, even now it's still raining in spurts, but that rain came down pretty good before. I'm telling you, I had to give my dog Valium to calm down.
Any water coming close to your home or anything like that?
Yeah, the backyard's built up where the back fence went down. It was it's on both sides of the backyard, pretty much standing water. And the front of the house, you might see it looks a little high too.
All right. Well, we thank you for your eyewitness account.
Oh, no problem. And do me a favor, I just want to let my father know we're not going to dinner tonight.
We'll do our best to do that. Caller, are you on the line? Can you tell us what your concerns are, or you have a story to share with us?
Well, I definitely have a story to share with you. We do have a little bit of damage here. We're in East Fort Myers on Ortez Avenue.
Ortez and where?
We're between Palm Beach.
Are you there, caller?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So you're not that far from the Lee County Emergency Operations Center. Tell us about the situation there.
Well, we lost a big pole barn that was out back in our yard, a couple of big trees, a lot of uprooting.
And what's the situation like now, weather-wise?
Actually, we're starting to calm down a little bit right now. We're not flooded or anything, but we've lost our power, of course. Okay.
We're going to move on. We thank you for your call. Robert, as we take another call, how much has this storm weakened so far?
I think there's probably a fair amount of people that are thinking that this might be over. If you just heard the caller say it's calmed down a little bit. Take a look at the radar now. The storm is indeed continuing to move off to the north. It is inland over extreme western DeSoto County. There you see the eye of Charley still intact pretty much over DeSoto, but I want to draw your attention down here. You see out in the Gulf of Mexico there are still several miles of feeder bands going in toward coastal Lee County, coastal Collier County, and of course up to Charlotte as well. I'll put it into motion, and you can see we're now seeing the continuation of a very pronounced southwesterly flow on the bottom side of our hurricane. I want to show you also, and again, boy, we just couldn't do this without the people in production behind the scenes. Would you put up the the AWS site for me? This is a time lapse from Vanderbilt Beach, from the camera on Vanderbilt Beach. That's the end of the lapse. Take a look at the beginning. There was actually a guy under that umbrella at the beginning of the storm surge. Now the camera gets a little messed up, but you can see the waves coming in. They made it all the way up the beach, up past the umbrella. But what you notice here at the end of this time lapse is the surge apparently on Vanderbilt Beach wasn't all that great. We got a lot of wave action. We have a lot of water that moved up the beach and probably did some water damage on some of the hotels right there on the beach. But we had a caller earlier down by the Imperial River River asking about storm surge. That's kind of your answer. It appears that from Vanderbilt Beach downward toward Naples, maybe even toward Marco, we certainly saw storm surge there. You can see it happening in time-lapse pictures, but the great 8 to 10 foot storm surge depths apparently did not happen, at least from that site on Vanderbilt Beach. Okay, back to the radar. Once again, the storm continues to move off to the north and to the slightly to the east of Arcadia. It is going to continue to weaken as it moves over land. We have an updated position for you again from the National Hurricane Center at 5 o'clock. We have the storm currently located at 26.9 north, 82.2 west, with over 110 mile-per-hour winds around it. So it is continuing to decrease in intensity. All right, Craig? I'm sure you have plenty of other callers. Let's go back to the news desk.
Thank you, Robert.
We're going to get back to our callers in just a moment. One point we would like to make of all the calls we've had coming in, of all the scanner traffic we've heard, of all the agencies that we are talking to. As of yet, we have not heard of any we've heard a lot of damage, but we haven't heard of any injuries through this storm. So that is a wonderful thing to be able to note at this point.
So far.
Yeah, and we
good.
we hope we go forward with that same kind of a report coming in.
Right. Chris Wadsworth from the News Press, who was a longtime reporter here at this station with us, joins us now. Chris, we're teaming up with the News Press to get information out to our viewers. What do you have for us?
Well, a lot of tidbits coming in from our reporters from the News Press who are out in the field. 20 News Press reporters, photographers all over the area, more than 20 actually at this point. So lots of things coming in. Let me clarify a few things out in Cape Coral. As I believe Heather Turco mentioned a little while ago, more than 60,000 Cape homes without power at this point. Also, water is really sporadic in the city at this point. I understand that the city had to turn off their reverse osmosis plant, so because water pressure at this point is almost non-existent in the city, so people are probably encountering water problems as well as power problems. As we said before, power crews, over 200 power crews and over 100 tree trimmers are standing by literally outside of the storm area ready to come in and start working as soon as the storm clears. Also need to clarify over at Cape Coral Hospital, where they did have some expectant mothers waiting to give birth, still trying to confirm if those births have happened at this point. The damage that we reported about a roof being blown off, that apparently actually happened on the property but at a plant operation building behind the hospital. Only a little bit of structural damage at the actual physical hospital itself. We're told some wall damage in a stairwell there. So I want to make sure that everyone's clear on that and that there's not really any problem with patients, no injuries or anything like that at the hospital right now. Down in Collier County, let me mention real quickly, Marco Island saw 40 to 60 mile-an-hour winds. Of course, the same thing we're seeing all over. Lots of down trees, power lines, pool cages torn up. We have reports of a radio tower collapsing near Immokalee around 3:40 today. Also, a power line apparently down near the Naples Pier fell on top of a car, trapping a person inside that vehicle. That person was rescued from the vehicle and taken to Naples Community Hospital for treatment. We don't have any information on that person's identity or their condition at this point. Shelters, as we've been reporting all day, thousands have sought safety. We have some numbers here. Diplomat Elementary in the Cape has over 1,500 people seeking shelter there. Cape High School has over 4,000 people, and Germain Arena has over 2,600 people at Germain Arena, all seeking shelter from the storm. Interesting note, the News Press, structural damage at our headquarters down on Martin Luther King Boulevard, downtown Fort Myers. We had part of the roof ripped off down there. We have water pouring into the building down there. At this point, it's not expected to cause any problems with us printing, and of course, all of you who are subscribers or buy out of the box can pick up your papers tomorrow morning. Had to get that plug in there. Also need to mention Jeb Bush. We understand Governor Jeb Bush is going to be flying into Lee County tomorrow, along with Florida Insurance Commissioner Tom Gallagher, planning on flying into Lee County. Of course, the Insurance Commissioner is going to be here to make sure that the local insurance office is up and running. They're encouraging people to talk to your agents, your insurance companies first before you start filing claims or calling the state. But if you are having problems, the state is going to have help for you here. That looks like everything we have right now. I understand, last point, the state office building on Victoria Street in Fort Myers is going to kind of be insurance headquarters. If you need to seek help directly with people, that's the place to go, Victoria Street in Fort Myers. That's what we have right now. Let's toss it back over to the desk.
Okay, Chris Wadsworth, thank you very much. We have some more damage reports to take to you. Planes at Page Field, apparently there's some damage there. We've got traffic signals all across Lee County, barely hanging on. We've been telling you, don't touch any down power lines. Obviously, if you've got to get out and drive right now, you're going to have to take it really slowly and be very, very safe, because I doubt very seriously many of the traffic signals are even working at this time. We've got uprooted trees everywhere. San Carlos Park, we had a caller call in and tell us about some trees down, the backyard flooding there, and we're getting those reports coming into our newsroom as well, so he's not the only one.
Callers, hang on. We'll be with you in just a second. Lee County deputies are awaiting the wind to decrease to a safe level before returning to patrol duties and responding to those prioritized calls. The 911 call center predictably has been inundated with calls. Authorities ask you only call if it's an absolute emergency. As you look at some more pictures of Central Avenue in the central part of Fort Myers, Central Lee County, that appears to be under about 6 inches of water. As soon as the weather dies down, deputies will be back on the roadways. 275-8820, toll free outside of Lee County, 1-800-329-8820. Okay, I'm told to hold up.
And,
I'm told to hold off the calls for now. Sharon?
Also, we just got some information to the set. Apparently, what the officials are advising everybody to do at this time, as the storm continues to subside across the area, all citizens are advised to stay where they are, stay inside as the winds decrease. Police and emergency services staff will begin rescue and damage procedures. I believe this is actually coming from the Naples area, so they're asking you right now, don't get out on the roadway. Go ahead and stay inside until you're advised through further updates. All the roads should be considered at this time impassable because of the down trees and the down power lines, and of course the standing water and other obstructions.
We showed you incredible pictures from Fort Myers Beach earlier before, where the winds and the rain were incredible, and then the storm surge created a river of water that spilled onto Estero Boulevard. It'd be safe to assume that Estero Island is underwater. Eddie is on the phone with us from Fort Myers Beach. Eddie, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm here, and I'm just floating around.
Where are you, and what's the situation right now in Fort Myers Beach?
I'm on Hibiscus Drive, which is like 10 streets north of Publix. I have about 15 feet of water in the middle of my road. In my house, it's about 2 feet of water.
Eddie, that's what, about a mile south of the Matanzas Pass Bridge on the island, or maybe a little bit farther?
Correct. About 2 miles past.
About 2 miles past.
Are you on a canal?
No, Eddie? I'm not. You know, and I lost 4 trees. One tree fell over and hit my truck, busted my truck all to pieces. I guess it's my stupidity. I should have left, right? But
well, Eddie, how much water are you able to tell us? How much water ended up
in my road?
Well, spilling off the beach and onto Estero Boulevard and beyond.
Well, I walk out to my road. I'm 6'3". I walk out to my road. It comes up to almost my breast.
So you're saying 4 or 5 feet of water?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Trees are down left and right in my front yard. I have a banyan tree. It snapped. It uprooted.
Well, those do not come out of the ground easily.
No, they don't. I couldn't believe. I heard something. I went out there and looked, and my truck got smashed.
Eddie, one thing I've been curious about on Fort Myers Beach, a lot of the homes out there are actually stilt homes. How did they fare from what you can tell in your general area? Do you have a lot of stilt homes in that area?
Not on my street. I didn't really walk around and look yet, but across the street, my neighbor, her cage just collapsed.
Okay, her pool cage?
It's collapsed.
Okay, all
right. I think we're able, with Robert Van Winkle's help here, to sort of estimate the storm surge on Fort Myers Beach, Eddie. If you're 6 foot, 6'2", whatever, and the water came up to your chest, with your elevation, we can safely estimate about a 10-foot storm surge on Fort Myers Beach. Eddie, thank you very much. We can take some more calls, Kara? All right. Caller, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Where are you, and what can you tell us about what happened to you this afternoon?
I'm in North Fort Myers. I'm north of Bayshore Road, Suncoast area.
Yes.
What was it like there? What's it like now?
Okay, right now the wind is still gusting, sometimes pretty bad. We just got a gust right now. But through the storm, I tell you what, we had some bad wind. I've been on this property for 23 years. I've got 60, 70-foot pine trees that were snapped off at about 40 foot in the air, and I've got more than I can count that I can see through the holes I made in the plywood for the windows. The storm was bad.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's bad for a lot. Now, tell us just, quite frankly, we were listening to our producer, and we didn't hear the first of your call. Tell us a little bit, again, about the damage you're seeing in your area.
Okay, around my home, I have several pine trees that are probably 60 to 70 foot tall. They're probably 40-year-old pine trees. There are several, at least a dozen, maybe more, that are snapped off at about 40 foot in the air.
Wow.
The tops just snapped right out of them.
And the Suncoast area, we are talking North Fort Myers. Any flooding in that area?
I don't have any flooding at all.
Okay. So mainly, again, a wind event out there.
Yes. Can you tell me, I don't have any power. My power's been out for about 2 hours. Then also, double whammy. We got a power line, tree went across the power line too. So
I'm sure that everybody, and we're getting reports of, I mean, we can safely assume that there are hundreds of thousands of people probably without power right now in Southwest Florida. I mean, we have a population of 1 million people now in this 7-county area in our viewing area. We have confirmed reports of 12,000 homes without power in Lehigh Acres, 60,000 in Cape Coral, and Sanibel with its 6,000 residents. You have to assume that there's no power on the island at all. We also told you a moment ago about some planes damaged at Page Field. That's the airport on US 41 in the central part of Fort Myers. NBC2's Jessica Ritter is on the phone from that area. Jessica, what can you tell us?
Hi, we were actually on our way to the southern part of Lee County and just had to stop. We're circling around Page Field right now, and I thought in the beginning there might be some damage here, but now we actually get to see what has happened. There are some planes obviously still left out on the tarmac. The owners had latched them down, but some of them have obviously suffered damage. We see a lot of trees down here, a lot of debris actually on the airport right now. One plane we saw was actually flipped completely upside down, just a mangled mess. The wheels were in the air. Some of them have bent propellers. Others are missing parts completely. Just circling this area, there's a lot of debris. You can tell a lot of wind moved through here. Some homes, you could tell, had some shingles and roofs ripped right off of them, as well as some downed power lines. And this is probably about 6 miles or so from where you guys are right now. And on our way here, we have just blown through several traffic lights that aren't even on. We haven't even seen one powered yet. Have you, John? Nothing yet. We're on our way to Metro Parkway now and onto the southern part of the county. On my left, I'm passing here is some pretty large trees with the roots just in the air on either side of the Metro Place storage units right here to my left. Also, a whole swath of palm trees knocked over on their sides. I'm not even sure where those came from, really, but they're here now on the side of Metro Parkway. We're passing Chico too. Everything there actually looks to be intact as we make our way to the southern part of the county where it's still really windy out here, but we expect to see a lot more flooding and damage when we get down that way. Back to you.
Jessica, are you seeing a lot of people out on the roadways?
Pardon?
Are you seeing a lot of people out on the road coming out after the storm?
Hello?
I don't believe she can hear us. Okay.
We're going to take some more calls here. Caller, are you on the line? Where are you, and how has Charley affected you today?
Hi. Well, I'm phoning from England, and I'm listening to NBC2 on my computer. I have a home down on Fort Myers Beach at the far end down by the golf course, and I wondered how much water damage we got down there.
You're at the south end towards the south end of Estero Island?
Yeah, Estero Island. Yeah, I'm down by the golf course there. But I'm in England at the moment.
Well, hello, across the pond from jolly old England, we can safely assume you're not known for your terrific weather there, but it certainly is better than it was here today. Robert and Jim.
Better than it is there, that's for sure.
What about the situation on the south part of Estero Island?
We can tell from our reports and from the pictures we had that there was a storm surge over Fort Myers Beach of about 10 feet. Put about 5 feet of water over the beach from Times Square south. Now, we know from Vanderbilt Beach camera there was a surge, but it wasn't that deep. So somewhere between Vanderbilt Beach and Fort Myers Beach, the surge really tapered off. Now, it sounds like your property or your concern is sort of in the middle of that. So I would guess that you probably had a couple of feet of water close to the house or maybe in.
That's quite possible. I would probably tend to think that it was probably more than halfway if you compromise the
and I guess since you're calling from England of all things, my gosh, isn't technology amazing? You will need someone to come check out your house and find out what the damage was, because I'm sure you suffered something.
When they get back on the island, I'll get my realtor to go and have a look for me.
You'll need to do that.
I'm listening to it and watching the very small screen on my computer from NBC2, which is what I watch, so that's why I knew your number and how to get in touch with you.
That's pretty incredible. And again, this was a Category 4 storm, unprecedented in this area. It moved through Charlotte Harbor just north of us. It looked like it was going to take a direct hit on Sanibel, and at the very last moment it jogged off to the north, went over Boquilla and Punta Gorda.
Oh, well, my best wishes from England to everybody there, and I hope everybody's safe and there's no damage can be repaired, but people can't. I wish you all very well and lots of safety.
Thank you, Sonny. And I think it's safe that you will not be visiting us in August, and you were not here this August, and you will not be here in other August. Sonny, thank you very much.
Craig, can we interrupt for a second?
Yes, absolutely.
We're hearing a serious problem. One of the major shelters in Arcadia right now is losing its roof, and we understand there are 1,200 people in that shelter right now. We want to take a look at the Doppler radar scope, and though the storm is weaker than it was, it is still a major hurricane, and Arcadia is sitting to the right of the eye, and they are feeling the full fury of what's left of that storm right now, which could be about 110 or 115 miles an hour. So we're going to endeavor to find out some more information about that. But again, one of the major shelters around Arcadia, DeSoto County, is having a problem. There are 1,200 people there. We will, like I said, we'll get you more information as soon as it's available. Okay, Sharon, Craig, back to you.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. And as we assess the wrath of Charley, we're sending our reporters out and about now that the winds and the storm has died down. And one of those reporters is NBC2's Jonathan Carlson. He's over at Edison Mall. Jonathan, what are you seeing?
That's in Fort Myers. Jonathan.
Yeah, well, Edison Mall is completely flooded. The parking lot, there's about 2 feet of water there, completely flooding the parking lot. The apartment complex right next to the Edison Mall had 3 gigantic trees just ripped out of the ground. They crashed onto a swimming pool, knocked over some palm trees. Now, there are residents coming out to see the damage right now on their porch, just stunned to see what happened. As for drivers on the road, well, it's pretty much a ghost town except for 1 or 2 cars that are coming by to see some of the damage. We've seen some people venturing out of their homes here to just look at what's happened, but otherwise there's not many people out here. We've seen signs that have come crashing down off the ground, signs that were there a few hours ago but that are now just shattered on the roadway. We've seen people's fences just completely ripped off and lying in the road. So just a really big mess out here, and we're continuing to look at the damage. We'll bring you more information as we get it. Let's send it back to you.
Yeah, Jonathan, I would imagine that apartment complex is the one at Solomon and the Winkler Avenue extension. You mentioned some water there. You mentioned water in the parking lot at the Edison Mall. Does it appear that this water got into the mall, or is it too premature to tell?
We didn't get that close because it's pretty much just an entire lake of water. We might try to drive through there and take a closer look, but it is just, it looks like just a gigantic pool of water. Nobody is over there except for 1 security car that was driving around, make sure nobody got any closer.
Okay, Jonathan. Again, the Edison Mall is located basically at US 41 north of Colonial in the central part of Fort Myers. I'm trying to prioritize the calls according to the number here. Caller, are you there? Can you tell us how the wrath of Charley has affected you or is affecting you? Caller, are you there?
Well, it sounds like they hung up.
Caller, are you there to talk about Hurricane Charley?
Sure am.
What can you tell us? Where are you?
Well, I'm down by Health Park Hospital.
That's on Summerlin Road and Bass Road in the south central part of Lee County.
That's exactly right. And it's still storming pretty hard, and the wind gusts are still there. When does this end?
Even now?
Even now.
So we're, what, gentlemen, almost 2.5 hours past when the storm began to pull up next to Lee County.
Well, as we've been saying all afternoon, just when the storm goes on shore doesn't mean it's over, and we're now seeing the tail end. We still have at least another hour of very heavy precipitation.
A lot of energized atmosphere. When it rains hard through this wind energy, 1,000, 2,000 feet off the ground, everything will go sideways for perhaps another 6 hours or so until this storm can finally weaken. This is a storm that is still doing major damage over the interior of the Florida Peninsula near Arcadia at this hour.
Caller, can I ask you a question? This is Robert from NBC2.
Sure.
Don't have him? All right.
Yeah, you can ask me.
Okay. Are you still there, caller?
I'm still here.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? I'm living down in that area as well, and I know we have lots of folks in that area. What's the damage like? Can you tell me what happened down there?
There's a fair amount of trees. A lot of them have withstood the wind. I'm surprised.
Okay. So it's still very windy there.
Still very windy.
All right.
A little bit of water sitting, but not as, and it's been steady the whole time.
Okay. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it.
Caller, are you there? What part of Southwest Florida are you in, and what is the situation there?
Well, I live in the city of Fort Myers, down near the Edison home in the historic district called Edison Park.
Ooh.
A lot of folks who know this area and have lived in this area for some time know that we have a beautiful neighborhood with some big old oak trees that are 50 or 60 years old. We don't have them anymore. They're pretty much gone.
What a shame. And you are a matter of yards, I would imagine, from the Caloosahatchee River down there?
Yeah, we haven't seen very much in the way of water. We have good drainage on our street, and we haven't been able to get out and walk down near the river and see any damage. But the road that we live on, which is called Menlo Road, is totally impassable now. Big boughs. So these trees have not been in a healthy condition for many years, but this was the death knell for them. They're pretty much gone.
Were you able to get a perspective on any damage that might have been done to all these high-rises that are being built along the riverfront there?
No, we're too far away to really assess anything that went on down on West First Street or anything out of this neighborhood. But one fortunate thing that didn't happen is that, as far as I could see, and I've walked up and down the street, no one on our street sustained any damage to their homes, even though some of these limbs could have really created some problems. But it's just it's a beautiful neighborhood, and we've lived here for 30 years, and it's a lot of people who have come out of the Edison home use this as an exit way to get back on McGregor Boulevard. And if you've lived in this neighborhood or in this town for any length of time, you know about these beautiful trees, and it's just it's a disaster.
Absolutely. We're distressed and sorry to hear about that, but I guess the silver lining in that cloud is that you're in one piece, and your home is in one piece also. Yes. Jessica Stillwell, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to both of you. Governor Bush just had a press conference, and I wanted to share some of the highlights of that press conference with everyone around. A couple of the big things. One thing is Governor Bush will be in the area tomorrow. He said he will come with other state leaders, possibly Senator Nelson, to assess some of the damage. Right now, really too early to say how much damage there is out there. Governor Bush was in contact with Emergency Operations Center directors in Collier, Lee, and Charlotte at some point today. But again, he just says it's too early. Tomorrow they will begin reconstruction efforts. As far as those efforts, President Bush has approved the declaration for assistance. Basically, what that means is that we will get federal assistance for this recovery effort, this reconstruction effort that should begin tomorrow. And again, they will be traveling to our area. Right now, the governor said we still need to be concerned because this storm is not done with. It's still continuing, and they have concerns now for Central Florida. One other thing, we had talked earlier about $15 billion, and it could be $10 to $15 billion in damage. When they first projected that cost, that was when they were thinking that the eye was going to be in Tampa and that the brunt of the damage was going to be in Tampa. So they're going to have to reassess that and really see in the coming days and weeks what that could be.
More buildings up there, more expensive buildings up there.
Right, and you have the city, the core of the city, and it's just it's a little bit different. Right. But of course, he said that just from talking to all of the directors, that there is quite extensive damage.
Okay, Jessica, thank you very much.
It's only going to take time for us to figure it out.
Absolutely. We have shown you some incredible pictures from Fort Myers Beach. We're on the in the Gullwing Hotel, and photojournalist Paul Fifield, who thought he had it rough when he went to Haiti with me. That looks like a day at the beach, no pun intended, compared to today. He's been bringing you some amazing pictures. He's there with one of our reporters.
They've been out there all afternoon long, and that's one of the few rare live shots that we were able to keep up throughout the storm. We've got NBC2's David Sutter and ABC7's Sean Brown out there. Gentlemen, what can you tell us about the situation as it stands now?
Good afternoon and welcome to hour 4 of Hurricane Charley on Fort Myers Beach. As you can see behind me, she still is not letting me down, letting us all down here. As I'm joined right now by Sean, I'm losing it out here. It's been a long time.
That's okay. Sean
Brown is my counterpart with ABC out here. Obviously, we've been working together now for a good 24 hours out here on Fort Myers Beach. Sean just took a trip around the area out here. Tell us, what did you see?
Well, this is an example of some of the damage we have seen out there, David. Amazingly enough, a lot of the island holding up under the winds that we've seen so far. As I went out onto Estero Boulevard, which is about a half a block from where we are right now, we'll go ahead and step out and show you some of the power of the wind still blowing out here. The first thing you're going to notice, the streets, the parking lots, everything littered with debris from beach chairs to screens like the one I have in my hand. to just lots of tree limbs. That's the main damage so far. Also saw a couple of screened-in lanais, pool cages that came down as well. But amazingly enough, not much damage to the houses. Now, this is just preliminary. I only walked a couple of blocks around the area just to check out what was going on. So, of course, we can't really judge. As you know, David, you've been in a hurricane before, Hurricane Andrew. A lot of that damage didn't show up at first, and that's kind of what I saw. Tough to judge at this point, but it looks like Fort Myers Beach holding up. The big question is going to be storm surge. A lot of the damage we've seen so far coming from flooding.
Yeah, to be honest, we have a really nice condos around us here. This is a really good community. I'm a little curious to see how those wooden homes held up out here. Obviously, homes that were built around the time that Donna came through here. So they're very old out here. We're wondering how they're going to hold up. Obviously, this is our first opportunity to get you on the floor here on Fort Myers Beach. I want to show you the intensity out here. Obviously, it doesn't seem that intense because we're underneath the building. But when I step out here, watch what happens. You can barely stand up out here, and it is really intense. In fact, it's really a surprise how good the live truck has held up. Go ahead, Paul. Let's go ahead and look at the live truck here. This has been up against the building now for several hours, and it's been holding up really well. We were worried that it was going to go underneath water with the storm surge, but we're glad to see it still going, and hopefully we'll continue coverage, obviously, when this is all over, to get you a good idea, a clear idea of what's going on out here. Now, one of the ideas we got to think about out here is a lot of people won't be allowed on the island tonight, and we're still going to be wondering when that's going to happen, obviously.
And the conditions of the road, one of the things I was just checking with some of the locals to get a feel for how big the storm surge was out here that we experienced. I'm told probably 6 to 8 feet is what we saw. The parking lot we're standing in now was under about 2 feet of water. We were lucky here. Some of the neighboring condos completely went underwater. First floor condos, more than half of their floor was underwater. The water going up 4, 5, 6 feet into some of those condos. So those people are going to see a lot of damage. And again, we are just on the beachfront. We haven't gotten very far from where we are to see what else was done. We're going to have to wait for the wind and rains to die down so we can tell.
And when these winds die down, we'll definitely get a chance to get the live truck on Sierra Boulevard and give you a clear view of what's going on out here. For now, it's Sean Brown with ABC and David Sutter with NBC and an entire crew out here of 6 members trying their best to bring it all for you. We'll send it back to you back in the studio.
Thank you both. And once again, we're simulcasting on NBC2 and ABC7. Those are at times what one might call colleagues and competitors, but we've buried our competitive urges throughout this very serious day here in Southwest Florida, and we've teamed up together to bring you the most comprehensive coverage you can find in our area.
And speaking of comprehensive coverage, 2 gentlemen who've been with you all afternoon, Jim Reef and Robert Van Winkle, are standing by again yet to tell us a little bit more about what Hurricane Charley's doing right now. Gentlemen?
Sharon, thank you, Craig. We've got a lot of people still just listening to us, not watching us on television with power issues. So we're going to try to describe to you a little bit of what's been happening, what we're seeing. But the first thing we want to tell you, of course, the dangerous storm surge does appear to be subsiding, and it appears that some places actually have maybe escaped, dodged a real bullet.
But by any measure, there are still some pockets of stormy weather we just saw in that live shot from Fort Myers Beach. Now, compared to what it was an hour and a half ago, it's a walk in the park. But by any other measure, it's still fairly stormy. What's still incredible to me, Robert, is as we look at the Doppler radar scope, that we still have an eye, and we still have an eye wall as the storm now is making its way out of DeSoto County and into Hardy County.
Amazing.
It's just
intact,
and it's just to the southwest of Wauchula. At the present time. And again, our experience as we watch this thing is once the center comes abeam of your town and goes to the north, then it really starts blowing in from the west and southwest, and it's still probably affecting Arcadia the same way. So it's very, very stormy in Arcadia, and we understood there was a rather large shelter for some of the mobile home population with 1,200 individuals that was in the process of losing their roof about a half hour ago.
That's could be disastrous news, and we'll keep you informed on that. For the callers who've been calling the station about when is this all going to end, this is a gradual process that will take place over the next several hours, but I'm telling you that we have from the Fort Myers Beach area out toward the Gulf of Mexico another 40 miles or so of rain bands before things begin to taper off. With all this activity still racing off to the north, 20, 25 miles per hour, I'd say at least another good hour of some very heavy rain, frequent lightning, and some very strong winds. We're still looking at tropical storm force winds. So hang in there one more hour. Please don't go venture out yet. You want to please do that as best you can. Now, I believe we've got someone from Bokeelia. We were
Yes.
tracking the storm over Bokeelia.
Yes.
The eye passed right over there. Is this a caller on the line?
Patty, are you there? Okay, we lost Patty. A couple things. Let's go back to the radar scope, Robert. Take a look at that feeder band that's south of Naples right now.
Let me move down here. Hold on one second.
Okay. And you can see there's some training going on in the leftover circulation of this.
This is a weather term that we use a lot. Maybe you might have heard it before. It's called training. It's when thunderstorms line up in basically a line, almost like a train, one after the other, and they're all moving in the same direction at the same time. And guess what that does? That puts down an awful lot of rain in one spot over an extended period of time. So if you're watching us on Marco, we're seeing effects of some training right now near you. In fact, let me zoom in on this, and Jim, that could put down several more inches of rain, couldn't it?
In a very short order of time. And the other thing, if we for a moment forget that the hurricane just went by in the current pattern we're in, with an atmosphere loaded with tropical moisture a wind coming in off the Gulf of Mexico, you're going to be making a lot of showers along the coastline tonight and tomorrow. That also could line up in bands with training and still cause some gusty winds. I think you're going to see less in the way of widespread intensity and more localized thunderstorms and squalls.
And here you can see what we mean about the gradual lessening of this storm. This is live from Fort Myers Beach. For those of you listening to us on the radio, we're looking at some palm trees next to some high-rises on the beach. The palm fronds are literally blowing horizontally. I mean, it's still blowing very well down at Fort Myers Beach. We've lost several sensors in the wind. We know we've lost a lot of our live weather link sites simply because we believe the phone lines are down in many places, and that's how we get the information on the internet. The last peak gust on Fort Myers Beach was 60 miles per hour before the site went down. Easily 90-mile-per-hour winds on the beach at the height of the storm. And right there, that's very clearly tropical storm force winds of 45, 50 miles per hour.
Suffice it to say, we just came through an ordeal where winds were blowing 140 to 150 mile an hour in the eye wall of this hurricane, and
it's going to take a while to turn it off.
It's going to take a while, and by far the worst conditions in many areas of Southwest Florida have already occurred. We're far from quiet and calm, and it may still be a little while yet this evening, but we're moving in the right direction.
So many of you have been holed up for several hours now. Well, I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? 6-ish? It's almost 6 o'clock. So we were at 2 o'clock watching this storm approach Sanibel. In fact, we'd commented, our forecast time had said by 2 o'clock the storm was going to be 50 miles or so offshore, and of course the storm took a turn. But anyway, the last 4 hours or so, many of you have been hunkered down. Please wait for another hour at least until things taper off. But also, don't forget, what we're telling you is the storm's not over yet, even into tomorrow, in that a lot of moisture is left in the atmosphere. We will see some more strong thunderstorms develop as we work our way through cleanup tomorrow.
Yes.
Let's go back over to the news desk and to Len Jennings and to Jessica Stillwell.
You may have noticed that Craig and Sharon are no longer here, and so we are relieving them for a little while, give them a break, and you may not notice that because you may not be able to see us on television because you're listening to us on the radio. But we're glad you're still able to tune us in.
One of the latest reports we're getting is out of Charlotte County, and we're being told that Charley threw small planes around at the airport, Charlotte County Airport, tossed them around. You can imagine, I'm sure not all the pilots were able, and especially the private pilots, able to get their planes under shelter, and so tossed around. And you said the same was true with Jessica Ritter when she walked by or drove by the airport.
We just heard from Jessica Ritter just a little while ago, NBC2 reporter driving past Page Field. She saw the same thing. A lot of these small planes flipped around. And I believe we have someone on the line, Patty from Bokeelia?
Yep.
Can you tell us exactly what you're seeing? I know that was... that
was a tough spot you're in.
You must have had something really interesting. Tell me, before you tell me what you saw, I want to ask you a question. Did you experience the eye of the storm?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Was that part...
Definitely.
Sunny?
Explain that. Explain what you saw.
Our house is 35 to 40 years old, and I don't know why it is still standing right now.
Oh, gosh.
All the trees, basically, around us are down. I mean, most people that live on Pine Island know our lot because of this great big tree we have that's almost on near Stringfellow, because we're just a lot back.
Do you see any damage other than trees as far as homes?
Yes, I see damage on a few of my neighbors' houses. We lost our shutter, you know, those window things. But the trees are trees that fell down.
Patty, what Lynn was asking you, did you see there were for a few moments, and I believe Jim wasn't over Bequelia, where the eye of the storm and it got sunny for a little while, possibly?
And then it went right back. And it was thanks to your guys' reporting that we knew exactly what was going on.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
When you said that it bounced off of Captiva and it was headed straight for Bequelia, we were like, oh no.
Well, Jim Reeve and Robert Van Winkle have been working very hard. Patty, thank you so much for your call.
People around here have a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for the report.
We're going to go to another caller right now. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Bequelia is right on the tip of Pine Island out there. So, I mean, they're pretty much all by themselves. There's a mobile home park. So you can imagine there is probably a lot of damage out there. And she's very, very fortunate that she did not receive any damage to her home.
Let's give the phone numbers again. If you have a question, and yes, do not call the newsroom on these numbers, I think is what Kara just said. The numbers to call, though, if you have a question, 275-8820 if you are in Lee County. If you're outside of Lee County, 800-329-8820. If you want to tell us about your situation, what kind of damage that you're seeing in your area, or if you do have a question for one of our meteorologists, go ahead and give us a call.
Okay, we're going to see who's on the call on the line right now. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Where are you right now in Southwest Florida?
I'm in Naples.
In Naples. Can you explain some of the damage that you see or something that you wanted to mention over the airwaves?
Well, what I'm looking for is information for Northwest Cape Coral.
Northwest Cape Coral or Naples?
Right. Northwest Cape Coral. My daughter's there.
Okay. So Northwest Cape Coral, I guess, Jim, you could probably explain a little bit. I don't know if we've had anyone. I actually spoke to someone a little while ago, maybe right around the border of Southwest, Northwest Cape Coral, and a lot of wind damage, and they did see some rain, but they weren't experiencing any flooding. But maybe you can tell us exactly.
Caller, are you asking about east or west of Burnt Store Road?
Johnson, is it west? Hang on one. Is it west of Burnt Store? It's east of Burnt Store.
Okay, in the Northwest Cape. See, our concern is after Charley came off of Bequelia, it went up Charlotte Harbor, came very close to Burnt Store Marina, and we do believe that Northwest Cape Coral took a pretty powerful punch. You know, and in the wake of a storm like this, with power lines down and communication very difficult, it's probably going to be a while before we can really figure out what's happened where.
Okay, she is on the east side.
Okay,
on the east side.
East side would be better than the west side because the west side of Burnt Store Road probably had a significant amount of flooding.
Caller, I want to ask you a quick question, caller, because you're down in Naples right now. We've had a few people call, and they want to know exactly what's going on in Naples because we haven't really reported a whole lot happening in Collier County because most of the damage that we've been reporting is in Lee County and in Charlotte County and up in Arcadia area. Any damage in your area? Did you see anything?
We just have a couple of trees down, which is no big deal.
One of the big problems in Collier County are powered lines down. We have 9 reported in Naples, 7 in Golden Gate. You don't have any there?
No, we just have a couple of trees down. We still have power, electric, and TV.
Well, consider yourself one of the lucky ones because there are many people in Southwest Florida who do not.
Okay,
well, thank you very much. I'm just concerned about Cape Coral.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for calling.
There's also a command post that's going to be created in Naples in Collier County in the evening, and that will make it easier for us to get information from that command post, and then we can give it out to you. That's supposed to happen sometime tonight.
Now, we heard a little while ago from NBC2 reporter Jonathan Carlson. He was at the Edison Mall in Fort Myers reporting on some of the flooding. We actually got some pictures in the studio, and we're going to go to Jonathan Carlson right now.
Hurricane Charley continues to pound Southwest Florida with force. There's a considerable amount of damage and flooding out here. You can see over here the parking lot of the Edison Mall is under a couple of feet of water. We've seen branches flying all over the place. A gigantic tree over here, uprooted construction projects, things flying all over the place. We've seen signs off of buildings come crashing down into the roadways, people's fences and roofs coming off of their hinges. Reporting with photojournalist John Sheehan, I'm Jonathan Carlson, NBC2 News. Back to you.
And you know, even though most of the storm, we feel like it's past, it's still nasty out there. So you really have to be careful. If you can avoid being outside, do it at all costs. Let's go to our next caller. Hello, tell us where you're from.
Cape Coral.
We're in Cape Coral?
At the end of Aqua Linda and Chiquita area.
Okay.
And what's it like out there?
A lot of damage on houses, roofs, garage doors, screen pools, fences. No flooding, though.
No flooding?
None.
Because you're down, correct me, because Chiquita and Aqua Linda, are you, are there any canals? Because I believe there's some canals down in that area, right? In Southwest Cape?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's ask the weather team about that for a minute, because I know I've talked to a couple people along the Caloosahatchee as well who didn't see maybe the storm surge that we thought we were going to. Is that something they still have to be fearing, or is that over?
That's a good question, and the storm, of course, is continuing to move away from the area and decrease in intensity. The threat for storm surge is going down as we speak, and it appears that what happened was as the storm was barreling towards Sanibel, it took that jog to the north, and for some reason the storm surge followed some sort of strange pattern that the track of the storm was taking, and we didn't see storm surge where we were certainly expecting it. Now, we know we got it on Fort Myers Beach to at least 8 to 10 feet. We were expecting it on Sanibel. We have a couple of unconfirmed reports that some parts of Sanibel didn't even see water up past the beach, which I find incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
So we were going to evacuate, and then we didn't see that.
Yeah, well, it's you know.
We're on the corner of the Sanibel, you know, right there where rum runners would be. We're like a mile from there.
We have a live camera there. We're going to be showing live pictures there as soon as we can get that camera back. But yeah, I think we're going to definitely be reading about this storm, as you said, Jim Reef, for many years to come, because it's just been an incredible afternoon with this.
This is our generation's Hurricane Donna and our coast's Hurricane Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Jim. You did a good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do we want to go to another phone call? Okay. The next caller. Hello, how are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Great. Tell us where you are.
I'm over by City Hall in Cape Coral.
And how's it like for you there?
It's starting to rain again over here, and we've got a lot of damage so far. Our neighbor's tree seems to be uprooted and on his roof.
Anything else?
There's screen enclosures everywhere. There's
just tree damage, or are there any structural damages that you see?
Are you hearing Robert? Robert's asking if there was any tree damage or just structural damage.
There are some. There's a telephone pole that snapped in half just down the road. Screen enclosures are a mess, a tangled mess.
Right, right. And are you on a canal in Cape?
I'm sorry?
Are you on a canal? Were you on water?
I'm across the street from water.
Okay, what happened over there? Did you see any? Did the canal come up, or was there any rise noticeably?
It's about to the top.
Okay, so it came up a little bit. Probably a freshwater canal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. City Hall, I believe. Cape Coral City Hall is by Country Club Boulevard, correct? And what's that go through? Nicholas Parkway?
Yeah, Vincennes. Up there.
Vincennes, right there. That's right. Okay, so that's kind of by the Cape Coral Hospital where we saw a little bit of damage as well. So, caller, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right now we have the Collier County EOC. Is it John Torrey? Is that who's on the phone with us right now? Oh. We're trying to get John Torrey from Collier County EOC. We did have a few callers coming in and asking for the situation down in Naples area, down in the Collier County area. As far as the power outage, we did have a fortunate caller who called us and said they still were watching us on television, which consider them
they're lucky.
Yeah, very lucky.
John, tell us what's going on down there.
Well, you're right. I mean, we do have sporadic power outages down here, but obviously we in Collier County are fortunate to dodge the brunt of this storm, and again, we're keeping an eye out on our friends to the north and hoping that everything works out for everyone who's under the gun. Marco Island, people are being allowed back onto the island right now. There was a significant amount of people that evacuated from the island yesterday, but they are being allowed back onto the island. And
any
as far
flooding
as
out
other
there?
neighborhoods around town, Naples Park may have taken a pretty good hit from the storm, but people are being allowed back into Naples Park as well.
John, flooding on Marco Island, or were they spared there too?
No, I mean we don't have any reports of any significant flooding right now. Again, we've had sporadic outages around the county, heavy rain, obviously strong winds, but again we haven't had a chance yet to go out into the field and do a detailed assessment of the damage.
Now, John, I'm going to go over to Robert real quick because looking a little bit of a satellite picture of Marco Island, doesn't look like, are they out of the woods there, Robert, or what am I looking at right there in Marco Island?
Good call, Lynn. As a matter of fact, Marco and south toward Goodland, we've got a lot of thunderstorms still lining up in the Gulf of Mexico, and this isn't unusual. As storms pull inland, they drag with it a lot of tropical moisture on the heels, if you will. So you're going to see a lot more rain here.
And I would not be surprised if we get a report or two of an inland tornado, because we still have a lot of energy, a lot of spin in the atmosphere. Right. And yes, the 145-mile-an-hour high winds are winding down, but there's still a lot of energy yet to dissipate.
Right. And we do want to remind you the storm is far from over. It has definitely moved away from our area, but you can see there is still, Jim, look at this, there is still close circulation around Hurricane Charley after having been ashore for over an hour now, traversing 3 counties north of Charlotte County and headed off in a due northerly direction here. We are going to continue to see the threat of some heavy rain right down here on the tail end of Charley, and this is that training area that I was telling you about. Look how it goes out in the Gulf all the way out there and back around up around the storm.
Now, it's interesting to note as the storm is leaving our area, and it's in Hardy County. You got Zolfo Springs up there. You have La Chula, and they're both over pretty much dead center of Hardy County, and the storm is going to the west of them, so they're feeling from strong winds. And just to the north of Hardy County is Polk County, and that's one of that is, I believe, the largest county for mobile home population in the state of Florida.
Right. Let's do something here as well. We have the power of all the radars in the state of Florida. I'm going to turn on all 4 radars here, and we'll watch how this sweep comes in. The Orlando area picking up quite a bit of heavy rain and thunderstorm activity now. In a moment, you'll see the radar sweeps come in from the other radars. Clearly, though, this storm is not done with the state of Florida by any means, and it certainly has, though, spared the Tampa Bay area, which really looked like Tampa was going to get a direct hit out of this.
At one point, it was the Pinellas Suncoast that was in line for a hit, and then the National Hurricane Center shifted it south to the Sarasota-Bradenton area. Up toward Anna Maria Island was a forecast as recently as 12 noon today, yet here we are, and an incredible story to tell with the landfall of this storm.
We'll let these radars come in, and we'll give you another look at it in a moment. Now back to our news desk.
All right, thanks, guys, and we want to thank John Torrey from Collier County EOC joining us as well. We still want your phone calls. We feel that they're very, very important because it's valuable information, because we want to know exactly what type of damage you're seeing out there. As Jessica reported earlier, the Charlotte County Airport, a lot of damage out there. A lot of airports are turned over.
David Karsh right now is at the airport. We have him on the phone. And David, what are you seeing?
Well, I'll tell you what, the airport, which has become the makeshift EOC building, we were evacuated about 1:40 there, taken into the main lobby of the airport, and it's the only building that has remained intact. Almost every building, in fact, has been destroyed. Every plane has been destroyed. We were looking out the window. There's most of the building is under has been boarded up except 2 windows, and we were watching as 100 yards from us. These Cessnas, there are about 6 of them on the runway. Each one just picked up like a toy. Some slammed into the building. Some have disappeared. It's Wayne Saladay just calls it a total catastrophic situation up here. The first response team, they just left about 5 minutes ago. These are going to be the first police and firefighters on the scene to assess the damage. But it is surreal up here, as I'm sure is with several other places around the area.
David, how many planes are we talking about up there?
Well, there were about 8 of them on the runway. And when we got here, we said, are they going to hold? Because they were about 100 yards from the window. And one of the gentlemen who works here said they're held together by a rope that can withstand a 90-mile-per-hour wind. So we got nervous because we were expecting winds, and we received winds that far surpassed that. So about 4:30, the plane started shaking. We knew trouble was coming, and one by one, they were picked up. Some slammed into the building, some destroyed other hangars, and some have utterly disappeared.
All right, David, what's the weather like right now? I mean, you're still experiencing some of the winds and some of the heavy rain?
There's a little bit of a wind now. Most of the rain has stopped. People are leaving the buildings now. We were inside this building with some deputies. They got geared up, and they left. But they're urging people, as everyone in the county, not to leave their house or their apartments to assess the damage, because it is a dangerous scene out there. Just where I'm looking, I see down power lines. I see destroyed cars. So the EEOC people up here are warning everybody not to leave their homes. It's
David,
very urgent.
David, that's such good advice. We thank you so much for that report. We look forward to seeing pictures as well when you can get some video and send it down. We told you earlier, it's so dangerous. It was so dangerous on the roads. We're getting reports of our first fatality because of Hurricane Charley. One person killed in a car accident on I-75. We're told in Punta Gorda, was on I-75, went off the road and hit a tree.
No, we're not exactly sure when this fatal accident happened, whether it was before the eye of the storm arrived in Punta Gorda, or was it afterwards? That's some of the information that we're trying to get, but obviously the message rings clear. Please, please, please be careful when you're out there driving.
Still not safe.
You know, it's still not safe to get out there. Let's wait for the storm to pass. We do have Governor Bush coming into town. We have a lot of people coming on our way to help us out when the need arises.
Right now, Heather Turco is at the Emergency Operations Center in Lee County, and she has an update for us. Heather.
Hi, Jessica, too. The man to talk to I have right here with me when it comes to damage and property around the area of Lee County. Ken Wilkinson, Lee County Property Appraiser. He's got a new program that he's actually going to be using and implementing. You said you've used it in the past with theories, but this is the first time we're actually using it, the real deal.
We do a test every year, and it's always worked, but this will be the first time a program such as this has been used to get the FEMA report up to Washington. And that's the initial damage assessment, and that's what we'll be programming to do.
And why it's important to get that information is because then we can get money to help the people down here.
Correct. You need an initial report in Washington, FEMA approves it, and then they can release a lot of the funds to help the individuals.
This is something you all came up with because you learned from Andrew. It took weeks to get that information up there and to release that money, and you're wanting it to take hours.
Right. That's our goal, because I had discussions with the property appraiser 10+ years ago and saw the problems they were having. Our staff I got some bright people, and we decided we thought we could write this program by putting in the coordinates of where the landfall is, the category of the storm, and then the computer, because we have all this data, goes out and actually calculates what the damage on a percentage basis from that kind of a storm would create, and that gives us the printout, and we send it to Washington.
And we're certainly interested to get those numbers, so we'll check back in with you too. And your advice for viewers as well, you said talk to their insurance companies if they have damage on their property right now?
Certainly. If you have damage and you want to verify that with our office, it would help us and them if they'd bring that damage report that the insurance company does.
All right. Ken Wilkinson, Lee County Property Appraiser. We appreciate it, Ken. We're going to send it back to you in the studio as well right now.
Heather Turco, we thank you so much. We have some pretty amazing video to show you. This is someone who happened to be at the right place at the right time, I guess you could say. It is from downtown Fort Myers. Watch the top of that building. Watch the wind blow. That is the Postal Service in downtown Fort Myers. You saw the roof ripping right off. He was getting video of downtown Fort Myers, and he happened to be there. He saw it lifting, and there you have it.
Mother Nature destroying. I mean, just destruction. That's what's happening. And this is kind of, and this is a time to remind people, the storm is still around, and there's going to be debris everywhere. Please stay inside. We just went out. We had a reporter outside. Just saw some people out there picking up some debris out in the front yard and puddles of water with power lines down. That is an accident. We're showing this video one more time.
It's amazing.
It's incredible, the wind.
And that's the roof. That's the post office in downtown Fort Myers. That's right along the Caloosahatchee River. So you can see what kinds of winds there. You can see the bridge actually right behind at the top of the building going over. That is actually courtesy of the news press. It was a stringer. It was someone who was getting their own video, and they got some amazing video, as you can see. Al Schilling, we thank him for that video. But back to what Lynn was saying, there's just no reason. I mean, it's not wonderful to not have power, but you know what? Keep it safe and don't try to fix anything yourself. Wait till the officials come. If you see power lines down, keep away from them. Don't pick debris up around those power lines because it can get very dangerous. You've made it through the storm. Let's make sure that you all stay safe.
Odds are that if you don't have power, there's a power line down somewhere. So stay inside your home if you're listening to this broadcast. And we're going to go back to the phone lines. We're going to talk to some people who have experienced some of the damage out there. Caller, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, hello, caller.
Yes.
Where are you calling from?
From Lehigh Acres.
From Lehigh Acres. We've had a couple people calling in and emailing us because they want to know what type of damage is out in Lehigh Acres. So what can you tell us? What have you seen out there?
We don't have any damage at all.
Good deal. Isn't that nice to hear?
Yes, and all we saw is across the street a little porta potty move. It fell over sideways and moved a few feet, and that's as far as it went.
Okay,
so how about when the storm was passing? Did you get a lot of rain, or was it pretty calm there in Lehigh?
No, very, very scary, very, very strong winds and like tornado-like sounds. But that was it.
Well, that is so good to hear. Thank you so much for calling in.
So we'd like to know if is the worst over here? Or are we going to get more feeder bands?
Lehigh Acres. Let's go to Robert and ask him, Robert Van Winkle.
All right. Good afternoon, caller. Let me go ahead and move the radar over here a little bit, and I'm going to zoom in now. We've got the Power First Alert Power Doppler radar with all of the stations in the area zooming into Lee County. The answer to your question is no, it's not over yet. Now, Lehigh's right here. There's some very strong weather still stretching off to your west and out towards Sanibel. But if I zoom out just a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of glimmer of hope here as we watch the ragged edge of the storm now moving across the Gulf. So I've been telling folks, I told folks about a half an hour ago, you got another hour. So it's at least another half an hour, but I'm seeing indications it may be a little bit longer than that. So certainly by the time we're working our way towards sunset, we should start seeing things decrease. However, you mentioned feeder bands, and that is going to be a problem across the area again for tomorrow and for the rest of this afternoon, especially down in Marco, down toward Collier County. You folks escaping the brunt of the storm, but several inches of rain falling there. All right, so Lehigh, do you have any idea how much rain you got? I mean, do you have a rain gauge around that survived?
No, the ditches are full, but that's it.
Okay. Well, this is move. I'm going to draw a little arrow on the screen here. I'm drawing an arrow right toward Lehigh. This is all moving in that direction. Winds are going to be pretty strong too for the next hour as well.
They still are, yes.
Yeah, I would estimate you're looking at 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds, still gusty. Okay.
What about, so it's not tornado-like winds strong enough for tornadoes? Is that part over?
The thunderstorms that are still out there have the potential for some small tornadoes to be spun up still. Okay. There's a pretty good thunderstorm off to the southwest. It stretches right down to the extreme southern part of the Cape. Yeah. We cannot rule out, I'm sorry, we just can't rule out the possibility until everything gets moved on out of here. And again, we will see more thunderstorms develop tomorrow afternoon. The atmosphere now has been charged with a tremendous amount of moisture from Hurricane Charley. We will see more thunderstorms again tomorrow. Okay, so you hang in there, stay inside, don't go out yet. There are more thunderstorms, and then things will be a little bit better overnight, all right?
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. And this is a good time to remind people we're taking your phone calls. But you know what? You can also send us pictures. If you have like a digital camera, you're taking some pictures, you have something outside on your front lawn or in your driveway, take a picture and email it to us. And we have two of the websites here. We have NBC2.com. You can email us there, or ABC-7.com, and we'll air some of those pictures on the air.
Now is hurricane@NBC-2.com or hurricane@ABC-7.com.
Hurricane@NBC-2.com or hurricane@ABC-7.com. And I have to say, we've gotten a lot of emails because we're really trying to keep these sites up to the second, and we're doing that. So if you want to log on, you can get a lot of information online. We want to show you some video that we're getting from downtown Fort Myers, I believe. Do we have? There it is. Is this video happening right now, or is this taped video?
Nope, tape.
This is tape. This is from a little bit ago. You could see one person out there. You know, it seems like you can warn people, and there are always those who want to go out and try it. There again is the Postal Service from downtown Fort Myers. You can see trees blown over there. Really, really heavy wind. I'm not sure why anyone would want to go outside there along the Fushatchee River in downtown Fort Myers.
Incredible. And you know what? We just got this handed to us. It's 3 for 3. We told you about the damage at Pagefield. We told you about the damage at the Charley County Airport. We just got a report about the severe damage at the Collier County Airport. Officials say every plane at the Collier County Airport was destroyed, and many planes were reportedly picked up and tossed like toys. That's a turn of phrase that we've heard a couple times. Pagefield as well as the Charley County Airport.
Bill, are you there?
8, 9, 10.
This is Bill Moss, the Marco Island City Manager. Can you hear us?
I can hear.
It sounds like you were spared there on Marco Island. People are being allowed back onto the island?
Yes, we are advising Marco Island residents that they can return. We do ask that they use extreme caution because there is storm debris on the roads, and there is an island-wide power outage, so none of the traffic signals are working. But conditions are safe enough to return, providing people use caution. And be especially careful for power lines that are down in certain locations.
Okay. And Bill, you were out there on Marco. You, I don't want to say refused to evacuate, but you stayed on Marco Island, if I understand that correctly, right?
Well, we were concerned about getting our crews back onto the island because of rising water, so we elected to have everybody stay on the island, and that gave us the ability to respond quickly. In fact, all of our crews are out right now removing fallen trees and debris that's on the roads.
But you're not seeing any major damage there, Bill?
We have not observed any major structural damage. We do have some pool cages that have been damaged, but that's somewhat minimal. So all in all, things have gone very well here.
All right.
All right.
Bill, thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate it. Just a reminder that it's great that they have some of the emergency crews out there already cleaning up the mess. A reminder, that means people can stay inside their homes. People are going to get to your home and clean up that mess for you because they know what they're doing.
And it may take a while. We have to be patient. I think I heard Jim Reef say 6 weeks for...
Well, we don't know that for sure.
No, not that. No, not this one. A different storm, not this one. But point being, Andrew, was it Andrew?
Hurricane Andrew in 1992. It took 6 weeks to get all the power back on, and there were shelters open for 2 months after the storm for people who were displaced. Of course, Charlotte County is going to be a while getting back on its feet, but Andrew was a major population center with over 1 million people directly impacted by the storm.
I guess my point on that was if you have to wait a day or two, realize it could have been much worse, and just be patient because they have a big job ahead. Let's go to our callers now.
Caller? Hello?
Hello? Is someone there?
Nope. It looks like they just
Yeah, let's try another one.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hello, where are you calling from?
Southwest Cape around Skyline and Cape Coral Parkway.
Okay.
How are things there?
Not too good. We've got some 10, 12-year-old black walnuts and carrot woods that are uprooted. We have a tree in our pool.
Oh, gosh. Hopefully not too much
power
damage.
lines on the ground.
Right. So you're seeing a lot of damage. Is there any flooding in that area?
No flooding, but you reported, we've been watching since 2:30 in the morning. You reported a tornado on Southwest 6th Avenue. And that's the street right behind us. I think maybe we got some damage from that. It's been a rough ride. We spent 4 hours in the closet with our battery TV.
Oh, well, and I think because we just had a couple callers ago who also called from Southwest Cape, from Aqua Linda, and it wasn't Cape Coral Parkway, but it was, or Chiquita. Yeah, Aqua Linda and Chiquita. So kind of close in that same area. A little bit of a different story. He wasn't reporting a whole heck of a lot of damage, but you're reporting a lot of damage where you are, possibly because of a tornado touchdown. Is that a possibility?
We had huge trees snapped in half.
2 trees. Robert?
Huge, not 2. I mean, all of our trees are pretty much gone. We have one laying right next to one of our windows in our house.
Wow.
Luckily, it doesn't look like there's any structural damage. No windows broken, but we have a lot of trees, power lines on the ground. Of course, we have no power.
Well, we've been saying it all along. Please stay inside. Please stay inside.
Mangled.
Right. Well, Robert and Jim could probably look at that area. Tornado touchdowns.
Quite possible, as a matter of fact. But then again, we're dealing with wind forces. Southwest Cape was not too far away from the eye wall of the tornado. Where if it's a loud wind and it sounds like a freight train, the first thing you're going to say is had to be a tornado. Well, maybe not, because of this. You're talking about a storm that produced 145-mile-an-hour winds.
Right. Yeah. Well, you reported one, and I don't know. I was in the closet. I wasn't getting out.
Good.
We had 2 adults, 2 kids, and 2 dogs in the closet.
Good. Everybody's okay?
Yeah, everybody's fine. I was just wondering how much longer.
All right, we're seeing the end of this wave about 10, 15 miles to the west of Captiva. So you're going to look at another 45 minutes or so there on the Cape. It's raining pretty good where you are right now. Can you hear it?
I can see it. Yeah, we're not in the closet anymore. It's raining pretty good.
We've got our radar up, and I'm looking right at South Cape Coral. So if you see, I'm going to circle where you are. See right there?
Actually, no, I'm in the other room.
All right, well, in any case, you're in the heavier stuff right now, and the edge of it is just off Captiva. All right, so another half hour, 45 minutes. All right. Again, we're telling. Yes. Again, though, we're telling people as we go through the night and tomorrow, the air is charged now with a lot of tropical moisture. We are not out of the woods for scattered thunderstorms in our forecast for you for tomorrow. Okay, but you can breathe a little easier in just about under an hour. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Good luck.
Just wanted to let you know, too, in Sarasota County, where there was some damage as well, county officials have not lifted the evacuation order in that area. We're told they're having a meeting at 6:30, which is just about right now, to determine when they're going to allow everyone to come back and when it's actually safe to do that. So once again, Charlotte County, the evacuation order still has not been lifted.
We're still getting some damage coming in on our computer here, but we're going to go back to our calls and see what other people are saying out there. Caller, can you hear me? Caller, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Fort Myers.
In Fort Myers.
On Summerlin and Gladiolus.
Ooh, what are you seeing there?
Yeah.
I have a lanai and a Florida room, and I'm looking out the windows, and it looked like it's horrible.
Horrible, do you mean structurally horrible or just a lot of trees?
Well, we have the whole community has the siding, and it's all tore off everywhere. And we also have almost every tree in the development is laying on the ground.
Is this the new development that's at Gladiolus and Summerlin?
No, this is Summerlin Woods.
Summerlin Woods. Are those condos?
Yes.
Okay.
This is kind of like in the South Fort Myers area, Summerlin and Gladiolus, and what you were
Right,
looking
it's right
at.
down by Health Park is
We
where
just
it
got
is.
some video right into our newsroom right there, as you can see some of the damage that some of these people are talking about. So it's
Is that
horrible
some of
out
that-
there.
is
and
that the
you've probably
same
seen-
area?
I think it's not in the same area, but that is Fort Myers video that we just showed you there, near the mall there at Edison Mall.
Seen any water problems? I know that in that area, that Lakewood Drive behind there, which is near you, floods a lot.
Actually, that's the exact location that I'm in.
Okay.
And we are seeing it hasn't let up for the past 2.5 hours.
Is Lakewood Drive flooded?
Yes. Yes.
That's a problem area anyway.
I also have an update I have family that lives in Arcadia.
Yes.
What are they seeing?
And I've been listening. We have obviously no power, but my family's up there, and it is absolutely, they say it's really, really bad. I just passed by their house.
We're looking right now. We're looking at the satellite picture right now. We're seeing the eye of the storm going right by Zolfo Springs and Wauchula right now.
Maybe Robert and Jim can talk about that a little. I'm not sure if you heard, but he was saying that he has family in Arcadia. They said it's really bad.
Right. We can see that on the radar, and again, the storm is remarkably still well intact after being over land for close to 2 hours now.
That's right. Wauchula, Zolfo Springs, and it's on the right side. Those towns are on the right side of the center of circulation, so that's still the strong side. And as we said, the next county up is Polk, and Polk is one of the largest mobile home populations in the entire state of Florida, and that's not a population ready to deal with 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Right. I know their house there, all the shingles are off and it's leaking into their house.
Oh, gosh.
And we have a huge barn with tin roof that's totally came down. All the privacy fences are down. And I did hear that you talked about the shelter with the roof coming off. I believe that was the new Turner Center that they have there.
I believe you're right.
That's right.
That's correct.
Did they have any reports about that other than the roof possibly coming off?
No, they did not.
Okay.
But we did have, I've been talking to everyone. We also had friends that were right on the mouth of where the Peace River empties into Charlotte Harbor.
Right. Yes.
And they obviously got probably the worst.
Yep.
And they looked outside, and there were absolutely no trees nowhere.
That's going to be pretty close to Peace River Shores. Is that the area you're talking?
Yes, they're probably 15 steps from the river there.
Okay. Did you hear any reports of any kind of flooding at Peace River Shores?
Not yet, but they're definitely concerned because there's a lot of new houses right in that area. Actually, they just built, and they're very, very concerned.
That's that area
That's what we were talking about. Yeah, as the storm went right up Charlotte Harbor, we were concerned about the water being blocked up into the harbor and then moving on up the Peace River and causing some serious flooding there. But it sounds like that might have been the first thing you'd heard about if that had occurred, right? They would have probably said that.
Right. They're right between Punta Gorda and Arcadia, right along 17.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. We really
Thank you.
appreciate that information.
Okay, and just a reminder, we told you we were taking your phone calls. We'd also like to see your pictures. Please email us some digital pictures that you have taken, maybe your house or maybe some of the flooding. And we got the website there up on the screen there, hurricane@nbc-2.com or hurricane@abc-7.com. And if you email us your pictures, we will air them just to kind of give people an idea, because we really want people to stay in their home. So if we can provide the pictures from here, and for those who still have the power, then obviously we'll be providing that service just so you can see what's happening out there. And for those who are getting us by radio, we're just going to have to describe it from where we're sitting.
Let's take another caller. Good evening. How are you tonight?
All right. Yeah, I was wondering, could you tell me about the hurricane?
What would you like to know about the hurricane?
Is it gone or?
Where are you calling from?
Fort Myers.
You're Fort Myers. We're still seeing some remnants of the hurricane. The tail, the eye of the hurricane has actually passed up into Arcadia in that area, but it's still lingering. And Robert and Jim are in the weather center over there, and they can probably tell you exactly how much time. We're showing you some video right now if you do have power downtown Fort Myers.
Okay, is there a following tornado or?
No, you're on the tail end of it now. If you're in Fort Myers, you're getting a lot of heavy rain now from the back side of the hurricane. This is normal as the storm passes to the north of you, all right? So I know it's raining really hard in Fort Myers right now. This is the tail end of the storm. Another hour or so, things are going to be tapering off. It looks like it's beginning to stop or at least clear up a little bit off in the Gulf of Mexico, all right? So it's almost over, okay? I think that's probably going to answer your question.
Hello?
Yes?
What about power?
Well, power's out all over the place, sir, and as Craig Wolf was saying earlier, patience is going to be a virtue. We're estimating that there are thousands of people without power. We have no idea when it's going to come back on at this point.
We have gotten people called with reports of power. They are out. I mean, there are some people with 60,000 people reporting it without power in Cape Coral. We talked about Sanibel Island, about 6,500 people out there. We imagine all of them are without power. We had some of it in Marco Island. They don't have power, but they're not too bad of a condition down there in Marco Island. But we are getting some sporadic reports of people who did not have power. So we're still trying to.
Len, just to add some insight, when the co-op talks about 60,000 people, 60,000 customers without power in Cape Coral, they're saying the entire Cape is without electricity right now.
Exactly. All right, back to the phones. Caller, are you there?
Yes, hello?
Yeah, hello. Where are you calling from?
Southwest Cape Coral.
I'm getting a lot of phone calls from Southwest Cape, and we're, I guess, there are reports of a lot of trees down. What can you tell us?
Well, I am just a little bit north of Cape Coral Parkway. I'm west of Chiquita, but I'm east of Sands. And right now the water, first I'll talk about the water. The water on the canal behind me, I'm on a canal, it's at the top of the seawall right now. Mm-hmm. And what I was concerned about was the storm surge. I mean, can we expect more water coming in?
Well, let me ask you, is that the canal that you're on right now, is that is that connected to the Caloosahatchee River? Is it a freshwater canal or a saltwater canal?
It goes through the lock.
It goes through the locks, okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a saltwater canal. The storm surge is a function of the powerful winds, and in this case we were talking about 100-plus-mile-an-hour winds pushing the Gulf of Mexico through Punta Rassa and up the Caloosahatchee River and into the canal system. Those winds are greatly diminished, and if to this point you haven't had any kind of overflow or problems with flooding in the canals, you're not from this point on.
Right. It'll be getting better. Slowly.
It's not real windy here right now. We do have some trees down. I'm looking across the canal. One guy, he has his cage totally collapsed. About 5 houses or 3 houses down from there, his cage is totally collapsed. I had a tree, a queen palm, that fell over, but the base of the trunk wasn't healthy anyway, so that's why it went over. And we've got a line down. I'm not sure if it's a cable line or a power line, though.
Line.
And
for sure.
So anyway, but some shingles off. This one guy across the canal, he's got some tiles off his roof.
All right, sir. We actually have someone on the phone from FP&L. So I'm going to say goodbye to you. We thank you for the call, and we're going to go ahead and. Actually, we're trying to get someone from FP&L. Of course, they have a huge job ahead of them. Many people in the community in Southwest Florida, in every county, I think, that the storm touched, there are power outages, and crews are already starting on scenes. I know on Marco Island they said crews are out and throughout our area, but this will be something that takes some time before they can have power restored. Another reminder, don't touch power lines. Don't work around power lines. If they're down, just stay away. You can clean up in a day or two once those lines have been removed. And now we do have someone from FP&L. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Excuse me?
Bill, are you there?
Hello.
Bill, do you hear us?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Great. Tell us what it's like out there.
Well, you guys are closer to the situation than I am, but it's looking like we're getting an awful lot of customer outages in that area. We expect the number to continue to grow through the night before the storm exits on the other side of the state. We're already looking at approximately 351,000 customers statewide, of which the majority are in Lee and Charlotte and Collier counties.
And when, as far as crews, do we know when crews? We heard on Marco Island they're already beginning to go out. I'm not sure if that's FP&L or not. Do you know when crews are going to start going out and assessing the damage?
Our crews can't go out and start assessing damage until the storm wind has died down and it's safe for them to go out and do that. I would imagine tomorrow morning at dawn we will have people start doing both walking the lines and checking for damage to our facilities. We'll also be flying helicopters to check the situation over. From that, we will then put together a restoration plan, and in some cases, it may be a rebuild plan if the damage is so severe.
So we're talking quite a bit of time, quite possibly.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You're talking quite a bit of time. I mean, several days. People. That's probably one of our biggest questions from people. We're taking phone calls. Is when are we going to get our power back?
Well, that is a good question. I know everybody wants to know that. It's going to take us a day or two to do the assessment completely, and then we will be bringing crews to assist. We have crews right now who are cleaning up damage in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. We'll be bringing those over. We'll also be bringing crews down from out of state. We've had crews coming our way from as far away as Texas and Louisiana to help out. So
fantastic.
We will have a lot of crews be able to put them to the test, but it may take a while. We're going to be looking at severe flooded areas that we can't even get into. Our best suggestion is to plan for at least a week or more.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, Bill, I have a question for you because you reported 351,000 customers without power across the state of Florida.
That's
now, we've
correct.
gotten a couple people, like some people from Collier County, who still have power, remarkably, and a lot of people in Cape Coral who don't have any power. Can you give us a breakdown of who in Southwest Florida, from Collier County, Lee County, Charlotte County, even out in Henry, who still has power and who doesn't?
No, I really don't know. I can't tell that from here.
You can't tell that?
No.
Okay.
All right, patience is a virtue, I think, is the moral of this story as far as the power goes for people. Can you, we've really been trying to hammer this home to people, but since you're with FP&L, just talk about the dangers and how people really need to keep away from any power lines that could be down around their homes.
Oh, safety is certainly one of the most important issues that your customers, our customers, your viewers need to be paying attention to right now. They should treat every downed wire as though it were energized. Many times it's difficult to tell the difference between a cable TV wire, a telephone wire, or an electrical wire, and we don't want customers, our customers, coming in contact with energized wires. If they see one down, we want you to please call 1-800, the number 4, and the word outage, O-U-T-A-G-E, and report the wire so that we can send crews to those locations and take care of any energized wires that might be down.
All right, Bill, thank you so much. That's 1-800-4-OUTAGE.
Okay, and we also, Bill, thank you very much for joining us. And in a moment, we're going to go over to the news press reporter, but we did get some numbers in here about people who do have some power outages. About 150,000 customers in Lee County are without power. About 68,000 customers in Collier County without power. 64,000 customers in Charlotte County without power. 1,000 people in Hendry County, and 13,000 customers in DeSoto County. And those are some of the numbers that we have in the newsroom. But that kind of gives you an idea. That's pretty much just about everyone. Those are just customers. I mean, those are just households, so not just people.
Let's go now to Chris Wadsworth from the News Press. He has some information on federal disaster relief. Chris.
That's right. The news press has confirmed, according to White House spokesman Scott McClellan, that President Bush will allow Florida counties to qualify for federal disaster relief funds. Officials are confirming that this is the most powerful storm to hit Florida, as we've been hearing all day, since Hurricane Andrew back in 1992. It's estimated that Charley is going to cost insurers more than $15 billion. To that end, once again, McClellan is confirming on behalf of President Bush that they will declare many counties in Florida, and including our area, as federal disaster areas. That would allow federal disaster relief funds to start pouring into the area. Also, on a federal note, we should note Federal Emergency Management Agency teams are ready to start pouring into our area to start providing relief, and emergency crews are stationed up in Georgia and points north, and they are ready to get on the road and start coming down here as soon as things die down a little bit to come in and start providing that type of federal relief. So both from the President and from FEMA, we have some relief headed down here to Southwest Florida. Back to you over at the desk.
All right, Chris, thank you very much.
And we were talking about how much this could possibly cost, and of course it's too early to really say. They had initial reports, and that's when they thought it was going to Tampa, that it could be $10 billion, $15 billion. What the governor was saying earlier in a press conference, what made it seem it might be a little bit less than that, being that it didn't hit that central area of Tampa that's a little more dense population. The number for FP&L, once again, is at the bottom of your screen if you're on the listening to the radio. 1-800, the number 4 outage.
Okay. And right now we're going to go back to the phones and assess some of the damage that's happening in Southwest Florida. Caller, can you hear us? Caller, can you hear us?
Yes.
Where are you calling us from?
Naples.
Naples. What are you calling to tell us?
I'm trying to get any other information regarding what is in town, what has happened.
What is in town? What has happened? Well, we've had some damage. Well, in the Marco Island, which is south of you in Collier County there, they weren't reporting a whole lot of damage, a little bit of power outage. About 60, I think we reported 64,000 people in Collier County do not have power. But Naples Park and North Naples is reporting some of the worst damage in that area, and Jim Reef is in the Weather Center. Maybe, Jim, you can kind of zoom in on Naples just to kind of see what the storm is bringing right now, but that's the latest we have as far as the reports.
I would imagine, and I will be hearing more as the evening and the day tomorrow wears on, that North Naples and Naples Park just had a recent flooding episode before the hurricane within the past week or 10 days, so the heavy rains of this afternoon and evening certainly not helping. The Doppler radar scope right now still showing some heavy downpours training in from the Gulf of Mexico at the present time. Here's a little closer look. They're straddling the Lee and Collier line, extending from Bonita Springs, Bonita Beach, on down to just offshore Vanderbilt Beach. These will produce some gusty winds over the next couple of hours as we continue to see this, the effects of the storm winding down around Southwest Florida.
Fabulous.
All right, Colin, thank you very much for calling in.
You guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you very much.
I want to just add a little bit to what Chris Wadsworth said. I'm going to read a little wire copy that we're just getting in. I'm talking about the disaster area and what that means to Florida. President Bush has declared a major disaster in the state of Florida. The order for federal aid for recovery effort came in just a couple of hours after the storm hit, as we know. It will be available in Charlotte, Lee, Manatee, and Sarasota counties. That's what they're saying right now. People affected by the storm in those areas are eligible for temporary housing grants and home repairs, low-cost loans to cover the uninsured property losses, and other programs to help in their recovery.
Okay, and we just got some tape in of Governor Jeb Bush talking about some of the plans of the aftermath of the wrath of Charley.
About 15 minutes ago, Director Brown from FEMA called me and said he had spoken to the president and our declaration request had been granted, and federal support, which has been planned for and people have been working on it already, is already being moved to the proper places to provide immediate support along with state support tomorrow. We've only, in conversations with the local emergency operations centers, we have heard of accidents based on damage done to homes or roof collapsing, but no fatalities that I'm aware of. A child overdosed taking her mom's medication. in the middle of the storm. Those are the two incidences that I'm aware of, but we'll have a lot more information later on tonight and better yet tomorrow morning.
And that was Governor Jeb Bush talking about the disaster relief and what's going to happen in our area. In his report earlier, he did say that he would be traveling to Southwest Florida along with other state officials to assess the damage here.
Now, we have reporters all over the field in Southwest Florida, and they are already out there trying to assess a little bit of the damage for you. Mike Baldiga of ABC7 is out there, and he joins us on the phone. Mike, what do you have to tell us? And I believe you're in Charlotte County. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are at Charlotte County Airport right now.
Multiple want to come ashore here in the next couple hours, maybe an hour and a half from now, it'll start really deteriorating. Now, up in Port Charlotte, there's a sound right up in there, a harbor, it's actually called Charlotte Harbor. That may get helped a little bit by the fact that the opening is more from this side, so the winds are kind of pushing that way. That may help a little bit there. But the point is, looks like it's going to be north of Naples for the worst of it, although they'll probably get very high water in the Naples area. All this area over here is much more prone to storm surge flooding than we are here on the southeast coast. Now let's go to a little wider view where we can see the direction that the hurricane has moved. See it moving north, 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 and then about 11 o'clock this morning, it took this turn to the right, and so there it was at 2. Now here it is at 3, so it's gone back left a little bit, so it kind of went extremely right and now back to the left just a little bit, but it does seem that it is going to come ashore south of Tampa Bay here, and the worst part of this is going to be Fort Myers, Port Charlotte, somewhere in that area. If you have friends in that area and they have not taken action, they need to do it this very, very, very second. Get on the telephone, tell them, get away from the water right now. If you're in Fort Myers, you just tell them you don't care what it takes. They need to get away from the water. If they need to crawl up a hill, that's what they've got to do, because this is an extreme life-threatening situation going on over there right now. All right, here is the advisory just in as of 2 o'clock, 26.0, 82.4, 125 mile-an-hour winds. That's Category 4, moving north-northeast at 20, now 55 miles from Fort Myers. Remember, that's the center of the eye. Even though it's got a very small eye on it, that's the center. And going back to the radar picture, okay, that's the center right in there. Let me stop that radar right there on the latest picture.
A Fort Myers. También están viendo las descargas eléctricas en esta secuencia. Ven ahí cuando se pone blanco, están viendo las descargas eléctricas en partes de la zona central de la Florida, que empieza a sentir algunas de las bandas en el exterior del sistema, pero el ojo del ciclón claramente lo ven ahí acercándose a Fort Myers esta tarde. Vamos a utilizar entonces nuestra tecnología del radar Doppler 51, primero y preciso, que les presenta el ojo de este intensísimo ciclón. Es un ojo más pequeño. Anoche era de 15 millas de diámetro. En estos momentos es un ojo de solamente 8 millas de diámetro, y eso ha significado que se ha ido intensificando. Aquí está el área de Naples, aquí está Fort Myers, Port Charlotte más hacia el norte. Hay que recalcar que esta región del suroeste de la Florida es sumamente inundable. O sea, aquí cuando entra un ciclón, el nivel del mar sube más de 10 pies por encima del nivel normal. O sea que esto va a inundar a gran parte de la comunidad costera, y hay, como ven, varias bahías, varias zonas por donde se puede meter el agua e inundar esa región. Anoche precisamente me llamó alguien del área de Cape Coral, preocupados la posibilidad de que el ciclón pudiera dirigirse en esa dirección. En ese momento parecía que iba hacia Tampa, pero la sugerencia de parte del Departamento del Tiempo de Telemundo 51 fue que desalojaran, porque existía la posibilidad de que entrara, no a Tampa, pero a esta región. Y en estos momentos, mirando el movimiento aquí en pantalla, lo van a ver nuevamente, ven que de verdad parece que no va para Tampa, sino más bien a la región de Fort Myers, si acaso hasta Port Charlotte, leve posibilidad de que se tire más arriba hasta la región, digamos, de Sarasota. 145 millas, huracán de categoría 4 con tornados cerca de la pared del ojo, o sea, el anillo de destrucción asociado con este ciclón. Si recuerdan a Andrew cuando llegó al sur de la Florida tenía también vientos sostenidos de 145 millas por hora, así que se podrán imaginar qué tipo de emergencia se va a estar viviendo las próximas horas ahí en el área desde Fort Myers hasta Port Charlotte, con ese tipo de viento. Me voy a salir de la pantalla un momento, voy a ampliar la imagen aquí en el radar Doppler 51, primero y preciso, para que puedan ver una imagen un poco más ampliada para que examinen lo que está ocurriendo aquí en el área de Miami y Fort Lauderdale, donde actualmente estamos bastante libres de precipitaciones. No hay precipitaciones en esta área. Ahora, claro, sí existe el potencial de que esta banda, por ejemplo, que está localizada sobre el área de Los Cayos, pueda moverse hacia nosotros más tarde. Vamos precisamente a hacer un acercamiento del área un poco más al sur para que vean las precipitaciones en el área de Cayo Hueso, donde más temprano en el día de hoy los aguaceros y tormentas eléctricas fueron bastante fuertes. La precipitación en esa región por el momento ha cesado. Nos movemos un poco más al norte ahora utilizando nuestro radar en vivo y pueden ver precisamente el área de Naples, donde actualmente hay fuertes bandas de precipitación y repito, aquí está el ojo, el anillo de destrucción asociado con el ciclón. Un poquito más hacia el norte podrán apreciar la precipitación acercándose al área de Fort Myers. Así que esta emergencia, amigos, para la zona del suroeste de la Florida desafortunadamente es una seria, una donde pudiera haber serios destrozos asociados con un catastrófico ciclón, posiblemente el más fuerte en azotar a los Estados Unidos en muchos años. Continuamente, aquí en Telemundo 51, en el día de hoy vamos a estar interrumpiendo programación, manteniéndolos actualizados del progreso de este sistema en relación a la costa oeste de la Florida, pero también en relación a nosotros, porque todavía aquí existe actualmente una vigilancia de tornado, una vigilancia de inundaciones, una vigilancia para la posibilidad de vientos fuertes durante el resto del día si una de estas bandas que ven aquí llega a tocar el área metropolitana de Miami y Fort Lauderdale.
On it, if you would, please. The center of the storm of Charley is right there, and the winds have been estimated to be now 145 miles per hour. This is a significant, drastic, and sudden change in the speed of the winds as well as the direction. The anticipated movement of the storm was going to be farther to the north. It looks like the storm is veering now much farther to the northeast than anticipated, and this puts Sanibel in the Fort Myers, Punta Gorda area under the gun. Let me put the radar in motion for you. Again, you can see the eye of the storm located right about there. And if we draw a line down to the south, we can see that the storm has moved a little bit more to the northeast in the last couple of hours. So the anticipated motion, of course, would take these high velocity winds right there near the center, and they would move them onshore near Punta Gorda and Fort Myers, and that would happen within the hour because these winds definitely are increasing and moving faster than anticipated. Now, let me zoom in a little bit on the radar here, and we'll get a close-up look again. There it goes. Now we can see the outer eye wall of the storm right about here. It's already moving on to Sanibel and Cape Coral. These are very strong thunderstorms up there. And here's the eye of the storm right there, that red section coming from the bottom. Let me go down just a little bit more. There you can see the strongest storms with the eye wall appears to be heading right up Charlotte Harbor over Sanibel and Cape Coral right now. So a hurricane warning obviously has been posted for that area all day, in fact, last night and yesterday. But the anticipation, of course, was that the storm would go a little bit farther to the north based upon official tracks and forecast models. Sometimes nature just doesn't behave in that way. So this is a Category 4 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale. If we can go back to the other graphic here, I want to again show you the major changes for us from Cocoa Beach down to Ocean Reef, and as a matter of fact, down through the 7 Mile Bridge right now. This is all under a tropical storm warning. What that means is we can expect winds here perhaps to tropical storm strength. Let's go out a little bit farther on the radar now. Let's go back to the other graphic, and we'll look at Miami-Dade and Broward counties, and we'll tell you why that has changed. Obviously, with the storm a little bit farther in this direction, you've got the envelope of high velocity winds and tropical storm force winds farther to the west. But I think you can see what's happening here as the storm moves a little bit more in that direction and is forecast to track across the state like that. What you get are these feeder bands that are now moving a little bit more to the northeast than they were before. So as the storm tracks in that direction, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to move these feeder bands up over Miami-Dade, Broward County. So the weather here is about to deteriorate here within the next couple of hours, and it could get rather stormy here. Hurricane force winds, no. Tropical storm force winds look to be a little more likely, along with heavy rain. And unfortunately, this is going to happen right at rush hour here, or shortly after here in South Florida. And another thing to talk about is Lake Okeechobee up here. If you've got a wind circulating around the storm in this direction, what you now have is a considerable stronger force of wind and energy driving the water from Lake Okeechobee south shore to the Lake Okeechobee north shore. So there will be some flooding anticipated there. That's why the hurricane warning has been issued for Lake Okeechobee. Along the east coast, I don't think too much will happen besides just some minor beach erosion. But the good thing is, if there is a good thing about the situation, is the storm is moving very fast and it will not be a long-lived event. But again, very bad news for the Fort Myers and Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Sarasota area. It appears as if the storm is about ready to make landfall in your vicinity. I'm Don No, standing by here at Local 10. We'll have more updates. And by the way, I believe we are going to be on with a special Local 10 news beginning at 4 o'clock. But before that,
this is Charlotte Harbor right there. So if that water gets driven up in there, vast areas of the area around Port Charlotte are going to be underwater. So there is a major concern for what's going to happen there. But before it gets there, it's got to go here over Sanibel Island, Captiva Island. Now also along this area here, from about Bonita Springs on up, the Estero area right there, and on up, of course, that's going to get water piling in there. That means it's going to go up this river. That's the Caloosahatchee River up to Fort Myers. Cape Coral is right in this area here. So all that low-lying area is going to be prone to flooding. How high might the water be, you ask? The estimates from the computer programs are 10 to 15 feet of water. That's the above normal tide. Waves on top of that, maybe 10 feet. So you could have 20 to 25 feet of water piling up in this area here from Bonita Springs on up to Port Charlotte, in parts of that, depending on the topography, depending on exactly what is going on in the local area and how directly the winds push the water up into the certain body of water they're talking about. So this is undoubtedly going to be a major disaster for that part of Florida. Going back to 6 hours ago and watching us move forward here, watch it go up the line and then it veered to the right about 11 o'clock. And now it's turned a little bit back to the left. You see at the end there? So before 3 o'clock, it looks like the worst of this is going to come ashore there. Now,
because as those things blow down, they blow around, they blow through windows. If you're outside, you're in a dangerous situation. We're hoping our crews right now that are giving us this
increased in the last 4 or 5 hours or so since this went from a Category 2 to 3 to 4. What is the mood right now? I'm sure they're very anxious and hopeful that everything turns out okay.
They certainly are. They are meeting just about every hour. They plan on giving us updates every hour. I would say that there's quite a buzz here. We're in a hallway, so we see a lot of people rushing along the hallway trying to get into the situation room. They tell me, though, they are anxious, but they are not nervous about what needs to be done. The majority of people who are in the room behind me have been through hurricanes before. They know what they're doing. They've practiced this many, many times, so it isn't new to them, I should say. So we feel that we're in good hands, but again, as the storm approaches, all of us are getting nervous.
Right, so they are well rehearsed, and
Absolutely.
we need to listen to their warnings and listen to what they say. Thank you so much, Candace, for that report. We want to go now on the phone to Melissa Keeney, who we've evacuated from Fort Myers Beach, who is now at Health Park on Summerlin. And Melissa, tell us about the drive off the beach, first of all, when you evacuated, and then also what's happening there at Health Park right now.
Yeah, Lois, as you can imagine, we were on Fort Myers Beach for about 14, 15 hours, and it just got to a point that none of us felt safe out there. It came upon us very, very quickly. We were feeling about 40 to 45.
As those bands come around, those feeder bands from the storm. What about traffic on your way back from the beach? Was it? Did you see very many people out on the road?
If you would believe it, not a single soul the entire way here, which is a few miles. I know you know, Jim. So not a.
Okay.
The position at 2 o'clock to where it is now, it's gone almost north as opposed to continuing on the path closer on into Fort Myers. The box indicating a tornado watch because of the possibility of tornadoes in these bands here, and we can watch the sequence here. Watch it. Here comes the hurricane, and also see these winds out here? These winds are pushing like this from the southwest to the northeast. And that's what's beginning to have effect on the hurricane and is going to push it, looks like, across the state, something like that. And so that's going to, the situation in Orlando may not be good. They have hurricane warnings here on the east coast of the state. And this could also, by the way, be a hurricane for the Carolinas to our north and could be a serious problem in the northeast. But of course, that's downstream. We'll just wait and have to see what happens minute by minute here this afternoon, and we'll continue to watch. All right, Rob in the studio.
All right, thank you, Brian. We have a unique opportunity here to talk to someone who's been staring this hurricane right in the face for the last couple hours. His name is Bill Kirkland, and he's on Sanibel Island right now. Bill, it's Rob. Can you hear me?
Hey, I hear you.
What do you see outside right now? Are you able to look outside?
Yeah, it's blowing pretty good. The house is, is shaking and rocking a little bit, but, no broken windows or anything. Everything's intact. A lot of trees are down. We've lost the power as far as the TV and everything. We've got a generator, so we've got electricity and everything. There's like 3 families that have stopped in here, and we've got an emergency room doctor and all.
Right there in your house? Or are you in a business right now?
No, I'm in my residence. We just built a new home this past year to the new codes, the new hurricane codes and everything, which I'm happy to see. We had a limb a while ago hit one of the windows, and hey, it withstood the impact. What can I say,
Oh, that's great to hear that. You have hurricane windows or shutters?
I've got both hurricane windows and shutters. Some of the windows are hurricanes, and the rest of them we have shutters on.
And you've got some families stopping by to seek shelter at your place, and a doctor there, you say?
You might be able to answer a question for us. Where's the eye located at right now?
The eye right now, Bill, is 10 miles west of Sanibel Island. Okay. You are on that side where the concern is the storm surge, and I wanted to ask you this. Are you experiencing flooding yet, or are you seeing any flooding?
No flooding at all in our yard. I mean, our yard's high and dry, so we've got no problem as far as flooding or anything.
How close to the coast are you?
I'm sorry?
How close to the coast are you?
We're probably about a mile from the coast.
All right, so you're kind of inland. It sounds like you've got the hatches battened and you got...
Encima del normal. Noten también que el tiempo ya está despejando en los Cayos, se ha mantenido en parte nublado hoy aquí en la costa sureste de la Florida, todavía nos puede tocar algo de precipitación en las próximas horas. Vamos al radar Doppler 51, primero y preciso, que presenta la localización de este ojo, un ojo muy compacto. El anillo de destrucción de este ciclón es esto que ven aquí. O sea, los vientos de 145 millas por hora se encuentran precisamente en esta localidad. A ver, esta isla que está aquí es Sanibel. Esta que está aquí es Captiva y esta que está más arriba es North Captiva Island. Tal vez algunos de ustedes han vacacionado en alguna vez aquí en la costa suroeste de la Florida. Sanibel, un destino muy popular para las personas que les gusta ir a la playa en esa región. Captiva y North Captiva también. Son zonas donde hay hoteles, o zonas donde hay residencias, casas para rentar, o sea, casas de playa para rentar también. No sé cuánto va a quedar de algunas de esas casas de playa, considerando el viento de 145 millas por hora y, claro, la marejada ciclónica, el alza en el nivel del mar, 10, 15 pies por encima del normal, inundando todo a su paso y encima de eso oleaje de 10 o 15 pies de altura. Rápidamente vamos a ver algunas de las condiciones. Esto es utilizando nuestra red de meteorólogos de barrio. Si podemos poner eso en el aire, les voy a mostrar algunas de las condiciones que se han notado. Esto es en el área de Fort Myers. Ráfagas de hasta 64 millas por hora, 2 pulgadas de lluvia hasta el momento. Y terminamos con una imagen del Viper, si podemos verla rapidito, mientras va entrando el ciclón a la zona costera. Estaré brindándoles información cada media hora aquí en Telemundo 51. Esté conmigo poco pasadito a las 4 de la tarde y los mantendré informados sobre este tristemente peligrosísimo huracán Charley.
Of course, was so critical. Here comes the eye north, coming north, and then watch it turn. Here it comes. turning toward the Fort Myers area, and then it turned back to the left a little bit. So now it's just due west of Fort Myers. There again is the Port Charlotte area, but it looks like Tampa Bay up in here is going to be spared from this this thing here. Here is the latest advisory we have, 145-mile-an-hour winds. I want you to look at that number. 954 millibars. Now, I just said the aircraft since 3 o'clock has reported 943 millibars. That is a tremendous drop in pressure. So this may end up being too low a number for the eventual winds when that eye wall finally comes ashore. So it may be higher than 145. We'll see. When we see that just massive drop in pressure very rapidly, very often that accompanies a rapid intensification of the storm. Quick check of the satellite loop here again just to confirm the coverage of the hurricane. There it goes up, 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 and making the turn toward Fort Myers. But the main thing for us I want to look at here are these rain bands, and you can see the bands on the close-up. There's one right there, and that seems to be sort of the outer edge. So it's still well west of us, so the only issue is, as the hurricane comes east, are we going to get some of this part of it down here? And we just don't think it would be very bad, even if we do. Interesting thing is, there was the position at 2 o'clock. There it is up there at 3 o'clock, so you can see that it's kind of made a jog to the right and then a jog to the left. But unfortunately, it looks like Charlotte Harbor, Port Charlotte, is going to be the worst part of this event when it's done. All right, we'll be back on the air.
But now we seem to be swirling quite a bit around us here.
Sean, let me ask you this. I know you've talked to some other people. I know the power's out in a lot of places there, but I know you've talked to some people and there are actually trees down on cars. Tell me a little bit about what you've heard.
I had spoke with one of my friends who lives in an apartment complex, and they've lost a number of trees falling right down on the row of parked cars for the apartment complexes.
Sean, can you tell if the wind is coming in out of the south? Should be coming in right now out of the south and the southwest, and you should be having at least hurricane force winds at this time.
I'm experiencing almost crosswinds here. I can see that the wind is blowing from the east, but then it'll change direction. Now I'm getting strong gusts from the south, and well, actually, it seems to have changed direction dramatically. But prior to this, it was a nice easterly, and it wasn't very. It didn't seem to be very intense. But boy, it's gotten really bad here.
Well, the eye of the hurricane is approximately. I'm going to measure the distance here. The eye wall of the 145-mile-an-hour winds is approximately 15 miles, almost due west of where you are. You say you're near Fort Myers itself?
Yes, I'm Fort Myers myself. I'm about 2 miles from the Caloosahatchee River, and like I said, I might be, as the crow flies, I might be 15 miles from Captiva.
Can you see the ocean from where you're at, Sean? Do you see the water rising at all at this point in time?
No, I cannot, and nor would I feel comfortable if you wanted me to go look.
Okay, no, we don't want you to step outside right now. The core of the most destructive winds is 145 miles per hour, but that wind swath of the strongest winds only measures approximately 10 miles from the actual center of circulation. So the community that is really under the gun right now, the area that's being hit the hardest, is the community between Captiva Island and Boca Grande.
Sean, stand by for a second, because we just got off the wires that the National Hurricane Center now says Charley is expected to make landfall over the resort town of Boca Grande, if you want to zoom in on that, Roland, on the barrier island of Gasparilla in about 30 minutes.
Okay. So the eastern end of the eye wall is already right along the coastline, and that the community of Boca Grande, I would imagine, is going to have some very, very substantial damage, as well as the community of the resort of Captiva, because this area right here has counterclockwise winds, and so a 10 to 15-foot storm surge right now is probably being pushed onshore between Sanibel and Captiva Island, just north of Captiva Island, easily a 10 to 15-foot storm surge. Right now, Boca Grande is probably experiencing strong offshore winds. So if you were actually out there right now, you probably noticed that the ocean is being pulled away from Boca Grande. Let's take a look at our neighborhood WeatherNet site right now. This is latest information we're getting, and these are the peak gusts we're recording right now at Cape Coral City Centrum, I believe.
Yes.
In Cape Coral, that's 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts. In Naples, we've had 78-mile-per-hour wind gusts. At Gullwing Beach Resort in Fort Myers, 64-mile-per-hour wind gusts there as well. And also, this is our time-lapse video we've been watching here for the last few hours. You can see people still hanging out along the coastline. There's some of the, ooh, that's interesting because there we're actually starting to see the ocean rise a little bit as that wind is now gusting, oh, not too bad there at Naples at 10 miles per hour, but they had a gust of 78 miles per hour earlier.
Sean, you still on the line there?
Yes, I am.
You lived on Sanibel Island for years, and you were there when Donna came through, correct?
I was, and even the no-name storm that hit South Tampa area.
Seen anything like this before?
Not this degree of wind. And if Roland is correct in that it's bringing water into Sanibel, when the eye of the no-name storm hit south of Tampa, it flooded a good portion of the island. Remember, the island may have, at its highest point, be less, well, maybe almost 8 feet.
And everybody knows Sanibel Island and Captiva Island, Fort Myers Beach have beautiful resorts right there on the beach. Based on what you're seeing, and you're an old-timer there, even though you're relatively young, what do you think it's going to look like once this thing passes over, Charlie?
Well, I've been here for 25 years. I don't know if that qualifies me as an old-timer. It may, in Florida. But I think...
Now, you're watching the evolution of Hurricane Charley as it came off the coastline of northern Cuba, went right over Havana. The eye skirted just about 70 miles to the west of Key West, and then all of a sudden the Hurricane Center started noticing this jog toward the northeast. Then the hurricane started moving a little bit more toward the north, and now it appears to be moving toward the northeast and making landfall once again. The outer rain bands going as far north as Orlando. Not much happening here across Miami-Dade and Broward County. But this is the concern that I have. This is where the core of the hurricane force winds are. This is the radius of tropical storm force winds. And as the hurricane continues to come on shore, on the southern side of the hurricane is where you have the heaviest storm surge. This is where the water is being piled up. It's being pushed into Charlotte Harbor. On the north side across Tampa, residents there are going to be experiencing the offshore wind. So it is down here.
Cape Coral, Sanibel Island, Fort Myers Beach, a number of bridges that go over. Most of the people in that area have been evacuated. They started evacuations at 7 a.m. yesterday, so the roads are clear. We're already being told that power lines are down, a number of trees have fallen on cars, so it's a serious situation there.
I'm going to outline Port Charlotte, Charlotte Harbor, because it is a little bit difficult to see. There's an inlet right here by Boca Grande,
exactly.
And that water is going to be pushed up and inside of this harbor, and when that happens and that rain and that wind persists the way it does, that has a tendency of elevating the water level there, and that's the storm surge we're talking about, anywhere between 10 to 15 feet above sea level. Earlier we thought that the hurricane was perhaps going to start skirting the coastline. It was taking a temporary wobble, all of a sudden started going north, but now it has decided to start trekking off toward the northeast.
Andrew, in 1992. The only problem with this one is the storm surge. Not the only problem. The storm surge just in...
Along the beach there, if you're familiar with that area, it's full of hotels, full of condos, full of places like that. Similar to Cocoa Beach, similar to Daytona Beach. Most everybody was gone. Of course, earlier today they were riding through the streets with a bullhorn, yelling at people to get out. You've been ordered to evacuate. And when we did our live shot at noon, we saw nobody on the beach except one other camera crew. Now, a couple of people have stayed behind just to tend to their buildings, kind of shopkeepers, if you will. But other than that, we saw nobody milling around. Most people got scared, and for good reason.
There you have Don Forbes from WKMG, and he's reporting.
We'll shift back into the west, so they'll have a storm surge from the other direction. A chaotic situation here. Let's get a closer look at this again. We'll be able to see the islands themselves. There's Boca Grande and then Captiva Sanibel to the south. This is Charlotte Harbor, Punta Gorda. The eye looks like it's going to go right over or just west of Punta Gorda over the next, say, 30 minutes or so. And there's Port Charlotte. In this red area, that's where the winds could be gusting to 175 miles per hour or higher. And because of the concentric nature of this eye wall, it looks like this could be a strong 4 or a 5.
The last-minute maneuver causing residents who thought they'd be spared to scramble and move out.
Other residents breathing a sigh of relief. Charley whipping up winds and water in the Keys, but the area dodging any serious danger.
Well, some effects of the storm literally hitting home in South Florida. You're looking live at the damage done in one Pompano Beach neighborhood. It's the big news across the state, and it is where we begin once again tonight. Good evening, everybody. South Florida spared pretty much, but the eye of Charley making landfall a short time ago on the barrier islands off Fort Myers.
Of course, we've got a network of reporters all over the state. 7's Lynn Gordon is along the Gulf Coast. Dave Cartoonan is in the Florida Keys, and Diane Fernandez is back here closer to home.
Sharon Melton pulling in pictures, some dramatic pictures, and Chief Meteorologist Bill Kamal has the latest coordinates.
And we're going to start tonight with 7's Charles Belay, who is in Naples. Charles?
Well, we can tell you that the back end of this storm is definitely whipping Naples. We can tell you that emergency evacuation crews came out here to Naples Beach. I'm going to go ahead and let you see what the situation is over here. All this vegetation right here is gone. This has all been blown away. There was 30 feet of beach here when we got here about 1 o'clock. You can see the water is up to the boardwalk. Not far from where we are is the actual pier, and that is got water all over it. There's a lot of flooding as the storm surge came in below where the eye went in. Let's take you into some video that we shot as we came into Naples. And we can tell you that it's a ghost town here. But I'll tell you another thing. A lot of people at the last minute, when this storm made its turn, got very scared, called evacuation numbers, and wanted to know where to go. There are broken trees, down power lines, flooding, and a lot of people who decided to stay home and ride out this storm because they thought it was going to hit Tampa. Well, it didn't hit Tampa. It hit Fort Myers, and right now, the back end of this storm is hitting Naples hard. We had an opportunity to try and find some shelter when we first got here because it really was much worse earlier in the day than it is right now. When we got inside of a parking garage, and there were a lot of people inside that parking garage because they left their homes at the last minute. As we come back out live, we can show you that this storm hasn't lost any of its punch. We're still getting blown around out here, and the situation, excuse me, I'm sorry, it's hard to see when it's blowing into your eyes. You can see that what the situation is out here. We're talking major swells and lots of high waves, completely crashing it up on here on the beach, right by the boardwalk. If you need to evacuate, the best thing for you to do right now, according to officials, is stay put, because this storm is moving north. Beyond Fort Myers into the Sanibel area. It has already come ashore, but the back end is still attacking the Naples area, and this is where we're going to be in place throughout the night. If we are able to move north, we are going to do that because the eye of the storm has come ashore in Port Charlotte, and that's the situation as it stands right now. Chris, go ahead and turn the camera on. I want to show you some of the people who came out here to take a look at this storm. We're videotaping them, they're videotaping us, as this is history being made on the west coast of Florida. The west coast has not sustained a direct hit from a major hurricane since 1921. Donna did go through the Fort Myers area in 1968. I was 3 years old. I don't remember it, but we can tell you that that was a Category 3 hurricane. This is a Category 4 hurricane, and where the eye has gone ashore up north of here, just north of Fort Myers, there is going to be significant damage when we are able actually to get out with the camera and shoot what is left behind. You've already seen what it's done here in Naples, and it's still whipping around. So the situation as it stands right now, if you are in the Naples area, or excuse me, you're seeing this in Miami, but anybody who has relatives who live in the Naples area and you're watching in Miami right now, and if you've gotten any phone calls from your family who are concerned about what to do, officials are saying to stay put. The storm is moving north. We have a couple of squall lines coming through here. These are those feeder bands that we have been talking about for a couple of days now. This is a feeder band that's going through here right now. You know, it's whipping us around. So this is nothing to fool around with. If you have family in Naples, something just fell behind our satellite truck. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm being told by my engineer that there's a problem back there. We are going to wrap this up. We're going to check out the situation and try and come back to you. I'm Charles Belay reporting live in Naples 7 News.
All right, Charles, you be careful out there.
Well, you know, this storm, I think, illustrates a point that Chief Meteorologist Bill Kamal makes fairly often, is that these storms can be very tricky and very unpredictable. We had talked about the Tampa Bay area being hit, and now we're seeing it considerably south of there today.
Got to be prepared all the time. Bill Kamal joining us now live with the latest with coordinates and whatnot. Bill, what do you got?
I posed these questions to the National Hurricane Center, and you know, by looking at these year after year, you know that you can have them on Doppler radar 100 miles offshore. They can do a jog north or south. And I think the models basically underestimated at the last minute the strength of that trough, that big dip in the jet stream, which propelled that storm more to the northeast more quickly than anticipated. And now that short jog to the south, everybody was thinking Tampa Bay, and the people in southwest Florida may have not been as prepared as they would normally have been. And all of a sudden, the people in Tampa Bay breathed a sigh of relief, and the people in southwest Florida around Fort Myers and the barrier islands from Captiva, Sanibel, Boca Grande, now that is the .0 as far as the strike. At 5 o'clock, 26.9, 82.2, winds down to 140. The official wind speed at landfall was 145, but like Hurricane Andrew, perhaps when all is said and done and it's reevaluated, the wind speeds could have been higher right around the center of circulation. Now moving north-northeast at 21, the pressure dropped to 941 millibars. It's actually still dropping as it went into Charlotte Harbor, and that was the point after the islands off Fort Myers that it went into, and now it is moving to the northeast. But we'll take a look at that in just a second. Here's the forecast track up the eastern seaboard. We won't be done with Charley as far as the rains, but the winds will weaken fairly rapidly as it encounters the Florida landmass and then perhaps moves out into the Atlantic and makes another strike on the Carolina coast. So now from Cocoa Beach to Cape Lookout, there are hurricane warnings. That's in anticipation of Charley doing this sort of thing. And again, a double strike, Florida and then the Carolinas and then up the eastern seaboard. We are still under a tropical storm warning here. We have a tornado watch out and we have a flood watch out till tomorrow morning. This is the radar. Here comes Charley up from the south and from the west. This is the tornado watch area that's, there it is now, from North Florida all the way down to South Florida. The entire state has the possibility of severe weather in any of these rain bands, and in those rain bands there could be some tornadic activity, again, till the morning hours of Saturday for both the flood watch and the tornado watch. This is the satellite radar composite, a lot of rainfall obviously and wind with this system, but I want to show you a 7 storm scan now. This is the eye moving into Charlotte Harbor, now moving toward Punta Gorda. Let's get a closer look. All these spiraling rain bands have hurricane force winds in them. There's the eye now past Punta Gorda, past I-75. Let's get one more close look in here so I can show you exactly where it came in. We have the barrier, we have the islands off Fort Myers, Boca Grande, Captiva, Sanibel to the south. There's Charlotte Harbor. There goes the eye now, and slow weakening now that the eye is over land, but an unbelievable, dangerous scenario here with that storm surge coming in from the southwest, then the northeast, and then the wind switching around as the eye passes. Storm surge up to 15 feet, waves up to 25 feet. We'll keep you posted on the damage potential here. That when we get the pictures in, we'll share them with you. I'll be back in a few minutes.
All right, Bill.
Well, we've already had the chance to take you to southwest Florida. I want to head a little north now, where folks had been bracing for the storm earlier today as well.
That would be Tampa, and that is where reports
are difficult, complicated, expensive, annoying, and you know, we don't have them that often, and most people don't have experience. So we certainly sympathize, because we went through it here in 1992, and I think that we can honestly say that almost everyone in the Dade and Broward County area felt exactly the same way back then, and maybe this will change mindsets on the west coast of the state. We feel badly that people have to suffer so for mindsets to change.
If I may just add one thing, we at work made the decision to close our plant, our manufacturing plant. And last night, one of the vice presidents called me. He said, well, what do you think of our decision to close? I said, I think we're going to be kicking ourselves tomorrow. Looks like it was nothing. And then just before the storm hit, he called me again and said, boy, we're feeling pretty smart now, aren't we? I said, yeah, but unfortunately, I'm not feeling too smart at my own home. So, you know, that's what people go through, and I think that you just have to say, listen, I need to take this serious at all times.
This is Tropical Depression number 4 off the west coast of Africa. This is now Tropical Depression number 5, about 800 miles to the east of the Lesser Antilles. Let's focus on that which is closer to us. Tropical Depression number 5, sustained winds right now at 35 miles per hour, moving to the west at about 20 miles per hour, depending on which one forms first. This will either be Danielle or Earl, and it's going to be bearing down on the Lesser Antilles as a tropical storm, moving into the eastern Caribbean as a Category 1 hurricane. And 4 to 5 days from now, this tropical system is forecast to be somewhere either in the central Caribbean or as far north as the Turks and Caicos or right around eastern Cuba. Now, tropical depression number 4 off the west coast of Africa, forecast to become either Tropical Storm Danielle or Earl, depending on when it forms. And then moving off toward the north, we're going to be watching this one for many, many days. By Monday, it's still going to be way out there. By Wednesday, it's still going to be way out in the central Atlantic, and it will still be approximately 2,200 miles east-southeast of.
Formed today. This one actually out here is 4, and this one is 5 because of the order that they formed. Both of them are forecast to become tropical storms. Here are the numbers: 8.9, yes, a very slow number, but moving west at 20, 1,000 miles from New Windward Island. All this is well out there, but the main thing are the future tracks, because look at that. By Monday, Tropical Depression 5 is forecast to be in the Caribbean, and looking at the risk area through next Wednesday, forecast to be to the southeast of us, or just depending, anywhere from the southern Bahamas on down to the Caribbean. So we don't like that kind of forecast, but that's what we've got with Tropical Depression 5. 4 is way out there near Africa, but again, I want you to see the risk area on that one. This one, it lifts a little further north because the high pressure up here is a little bit weaker in the middle of the ocean, so the thinking is that it will begin a turn at some point, but it also indications it may turn back left. But again, that's a long, long way out, and we're not going to talk about that anymore.
Charley es un peligroso huracán de categoría número 4. El área de Fort Myers está siendo fuertemente afectada. El ciclón está golpeando la parte oeste y central de la Florida y alrededor de 2 millones de personas han sido ordenadas a evacuar.
Los Cayos de la Florida escapan con poco daño al paso de Charley sin recibir su impacto directo. Estas son las primeras imágenes llegadas desde Cayo Hueso, desde donde el ojo del huracán pasó a 70 millas esta mañana. ¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes.
Bienvenidos.
La Florida está bajo estado de emergencia debido a que el huracán Charley tocó tierra con una devastadora categoría 4.
Charley es el ciclón más poderoso en azotar a la Florida desde que el huracán Andrew pasó por nuestro estado en 1992. Vamos con nuestro meteorólogo John Morales, que tiene lo último.
Sí, una cosa triste, la verdad, para la parte suroeste de la Florida, porque este ciclón se fortaleció súbitamente sobre las cálidas aguas del sureste del Golfo de México. Están viendo imágenes de mi radar Doppler 51, nuestro radar Doppler 51, primero y preciso, y el ojo del huracán, ya como ven, se va rellenando. Esto sucede porque cuando ya entra en tierra, enseguida va perdiendo fuerzas. Y ven como el ojo ya pierde su definición. Está localizado al norte de Port Charlotte, al oeste de Lake Placid, y Sarasota está justo por aquí en la costa. Así que está pasando justo al norte ahora, o hacia el norte, para en camino a pasar entre Tampa y Orlando. Vamos a ver las imágenes del Viper. El Viper es esta tecnología nueva que estamos utilizando aquí en Telemundo 51. Y voy a aprovechar porque quiero mostrarles un par de cosas con el Viper. Primero que todo, vamos a hacer un acercamiento. Están viendo imágenes actuales combinadas de los diferentes radares meteorológicos disponibles en toda el área de la Florida. Ahí ven la carretera I-75, el ojo ya pasando al norte de ahí. Este huracán entró justo cerca de la bahía de Port Charlotte y se ha estado moviendo hacia el norte. Todavía siguen ocurriendo algunos tornados con el paso del sistema, son los cilindros que ustedes ven ahí en pantalla, mientras el huracán se mueve en esa dirección hacia el norte, repito, para pasar entre Tampa y Orlando en las próximas horas. Noten también, si miramos hacia el sureste, que el área del sureste de la Florida está libre de precipitaciones. Nos escapamos de la lluvia hoy y ya quedaron descontinuadas las vigilancias de tormenta tropical que estaban en vigor para nuestra zona, pero siguen en vigor vigilancias de inundación y vigilancia para la posibilidad de tornados. Vamos a ver la imagen de satélite mientras llegaba el huracán a la costa. Amigos, esto salió de Cuba con vientos de 105 millas por hora, vientos sostenidos. Hubo ráfagas registradas en La Habana de 124 millas por hora. Desde entonces, aquí en esta zona tan cálida fue que se fortaleció el ojo del huracán, que estaba en 15 millas anoche, fue achicándose y llegó a ser de solo 5 millas de diámetro cuando entró en la costa, repito, en el área justo cercana a la isla Sanibel, a la isla Captiva, al área de Fort Myers y entonces hacia la zona de Port Charlotte. Actualmente los vientos permanecen en 145 millas por hora, latitud y longitud la ven en pantalla, está a 30 millas al oeste-noroeste de Fort Myers y está empezando a acelerar su movimiento hacia el norte-nordeste a razón de 22 millas por hora. En la mirilla del ciclón para esta noche, el norte de la Florida, se espera sin embargo que para cuando llegue ahí esté mucho más debilitado mientras siga en ese rumbo hacia el norte, ya para el sábado por la mañana pasando por Georgia y luego como tormenta tropical para mañana por la noche en el área de Virginia. Por cierto, hay una nueva depresión tropical, está localizada a 1000 millas al este de las islas de Barlovento y que conste que esta es la quinta, porque hay otra más que está por allá por la costa africana, pero por el momento ven los datos de esa nueva depresión tropical número 5 y su proyección en cuanto a la trayectoria se refiere de aquí a 3 días, pasando como huracán al sur de Puerto Rico. Así que habrá más de qué hablar en los próximos días, desafortunadamente, pero primero, obviamente, el desastre seguramente causado por el huracán Charley, categoría 4, entrando al suroeste de la Florida. Regreso a ustedes.
Gracias, Jan. Bueno, y en Telemundo 51 hemos seguido detalladamente la trayectoria de Charley durante todo el día.
Hemos desplegado nuestros equipos desde Cayo Hueso hasta Tampa y comenzamos nuestra cobertura con Claudín Caro en vivo desde Sarasota. Claudín, adelante.
Muy buenas tardes, María. Me encuentro en el condado Sarasota en estos momentos. Hace aproximadamente 2 horas que el viento empezó a cobrar un poco más de fuerza y también las lluvias no han cesado. Nos dirigíamos desde Tampa, donde nos encontrábamos esperando a Charley, pero como tiende a suceder con estos fenómenos atmosféricos, no pueden ser predecibles. Nos dirigíamos hasta Port Charlotte y Punta Gorda, el área donde luego, durante el día de hoy, pues Charley hizo de las suyas. Sin embargo, por el peligro tuvimos que detenernos aquí en esta área, en el condado Sarasota, donde aproximadamente unas 60,000 personas fueron evacuadas. También el Centro de Operaciones de Emergencia ha hecho declaraciones recalcando a todos los residentes que se mantengan dentro de sus hogares. Ahora bien, donde el huracán Charley no perdonó fue en Fort Myers, tal como comentó nuestro meteorólogo John Morales hace apenas unos segundos. Ahí pueden ver ustedes el video. Las ráfagas hasta ahora se especula que pudieron haber llegado, la marejada se especula que pudo haber llegado hasta más o menos unos 15 pies. También las zonas costeras en la isla de Sanibel, también captiva. Hasta esta hora no se ha podido realmente reportar cuánto fueron los daños, pero se esperan que son bastante y todavía continúa el huracán Charley siguiendo su trayectoria. Ha sido un huracán de categoría 4 y según las autoridades estatales pues ha emitido, ¿no?, una mayor cantidad de evacuación, una evacuación masiva de aproximadamente 2 millones de personas, y esta ha sido la evacuación de mayor número de personas en su historia. Por ahora el Estado sí ha reportado que se encuentra al tanto y presente y en alerta y preparado para inmediatamente, sea humanamente posible, enviar sus equipos de rescate a las zonas más afectadas. Por el momento, el huracán Charley continúa su trayectoria aquí en Sarasota. Ha sido uno de los lugares en donde, pues, si se puede decir de una manera, han tenido más suerte, donde no ha podido causar demasiados estragos, al menos al momento. Tenemos que chequear a ver cómo surge toda esta situación. Las zonas costeras definitivamente han recibido unos golpes bastante fuertes del huracán Charley. Nosotros le vamos a seguir el paso al huracán Charley, trayéndole a ustedes los últimos detalles, principalmente esta noche a las 11. Por el momento, desde el condado Sarasota, les informó Claudín Caro, Telemundo 51. Ambrosio María, regreso con ustedes.
Gracias. Ten mucho cuidado,
impresionantes imágenes que nos recuerdan mucho al huracán Andrew. Y bueno, después de la tormenta viene la calma, y ese es el ambiente esta tarde en Cayo Hueso, donde esperaban el azote de Charley.
Pero el Cayo respira tranquilidad. Esta tarde es viernes y día de fiesta para muchas personas ahí, así que vamos en vivo con Iván Taylor con lo último. Algunos están pensando en bailar, pero hay otros que hablan de pérdidas, Iván.
Buenas tardes desde el corazón de Cayo Hueso. Bueno, cabe destacar que en medio del alivio y podemos decir el júbilo de la mayoría de los habitantes, quienes aseguran que ya pasó todo lo que podría haber sido lo peor, hay quienes en efecto hablan de pérdidas, y estos son los pescadores de langostas, quienes consideran que siempre ellos son afectados por muy pequeño que sea un huracán. Al igual que el resto de los pobladores, estuvieron ellos en vilo durante horas. 7 de la mañana, hora del este en Cayo Hueso. Olas de 10 pies de altura, la marea crecida, lo suficiente como para sobrepasar esta pared. Los vientos a unas 50 millas por hora. Todo indicaba que el huracán Charley, entonces categoría 2, golpearía con fuerza a Key West.
Sí, aquí pasamos la noche y todo bien, el viento normal y eso, pero todo bien.
2 horas más tarde, un sentimiento de alivio de los residentes de casas móviles, la mayoría hispanos. Charley se alejó en dirección oeste, pero he aquí el resultado. Peces en la costa, arbustos en el suelo, cables eléctricos rotos.
Que cada vez que hay un huracán es un desastre, se acaba todo.
Ellos son pescadores cubanos, amanecieron contando sus pérdidas. Aseguran que siempre son afectados.
En los botes no tuvimos ninguna pérdida, pero pensamos que en las trampas hubo mucha pérdida.
Y ahí es donde se pesca la langosta. Cada trampa esta cuesta 26 pesos, 26 dólares cuesta a cada pescador. Hay que, de verdad, ahora ellos pierden un tongón de trampa.
En las calles de la ciudad, evidencias del pánico que sembró el huracán. Láminas de madera y de metal. Pero hoy, Charley, en Cayo Hueso, es solo lo que el viento se llevó.
Ahora bien, nosotros estamos llegando en vivo a ustedes desde un balcón de la conocidísima calle Duval en Cayo Hueso, una ciudad muy famosa por ser una atracción turística donde siempre vienen visitantes a festejar y a tomar licor. Y bueno, cabe destacar que aunque algunos de los negocios continúan cerrados, el alcalde de Cayo Hueso ya autorizó que restaurantes y bares abran sus puertas y hay muchas personas que anuncian que esta noche estarán celebrando. Desde aquí, les informo en vivo, Iván Taylor, Telemundo 51. Regreso con ustedes al estudio.
Gracias, Iván.
El espíritu de Cayo Hueso, el Cayo. Gracias, Iván. ¿Cómo no? Claro que sí. Bueno, y pasamos a nuestro centro de satélites con Juan Manuel Cao.
Cao ha estado monitoreando el paso de Charley por Cuba y nos tiene ahora la secuela que dejó atrás y lamentablemente cobró vidas humanas, hubo pérdidas de vidas. Cao.
Bueno, se han reportado 3 muertes. Hay que destacar que desde 1966 ningún huracán, el ojo de ningún huracán atravesaba de un lado a otro la capital cubana. En 1985 el huracán aquí simplemente pasó de modo adyacente y en 1998 otro huracán que llegó a La Habana simplemente ya era tormenta tropical. O sea que hace más de 40 años que no pasaba lo que sucedió anoche en Cuba. Desde 1966 el ojo de un huracán no atravesaba La Habana. Eso fue hace casi 40 años. El viento de anoche presagiaba las casas destruidas que mostró luego la luz del día.
El ciclón que lo que se metió aquí fue, no es loco como dijeron, fue el cuerpo completo del ciclón que acabó aquí con todo. ¿Sí? Con todo acabó.
Una gran cantidad de árboles se vinieron abajo y el daño material sigue contabilizándose.
Nosotros soportamos lo mismo.
Fidel Castro se presentó en el Centro de Meteorología al filo de la madrugada, pero luego habló más de política que del propio ciclón, al punto de que los periodistas tuvieron que recordarle la existencia del huracán Charley.
Victoria el 13 ya lo hemos admitido.
Ya salió.
Ya salió.
¿Qué salió?
Charley, el huracán.
Por culpa de ustedes yo no pude ver nada de Charley.
Comandante, permítame.
Sí, yo lo que estaba charlando todo el tiempo que pasó por aquí.
No hay luz, no hay gas.
Hurricane Charley doing some serious damage to Florida's Gulf Coast. The extent of the devastation still being determined after the storm makes landfall as a Category 4 hurricane.
And with that in mind, we urge you to tune in tomorrow morning for an expanded edition of Today in Florida, the Saturday edition. We will bring you the latest on the aftermath of Charley. 4 full hours of news. It begins at 6 a.m.
But right now, that's going to do it for us tonight. First at 10. I'm Belkis Nure.
I'm Craig Stevens. Stay tuned. More on Charley next at 11.
Live from the news station, this is 7 News at 11.
Tonight.
This storm has had a devastating impact on as it's hit our state.
Hurricane Charley stronger than expected and surprising millions in the Sunshine State. A look at what the storm left behind as it makes its next move. 7 News extensive coverage continues right now. Hello again, everyone. Florida hit with its strongest storm since Andrew.
And the damage could be even worse. We have a network of reporters covering the storm tonight. We want to begin once again with Charles Balai live for us. He is in downtown Fort Myers. Our network of reporters, we'll get to all of them in just a few moments. First, though, here's Charles in downtown. Charles?
Okay, Belkis and Craig, we showed you this at 10 o'clock. We're going to do it again at 11 for those who didn't see it. Ready, guys? On 1, 2, 3. This is what it looks like in downtown Fort Myers. There isn't a drop of juice in this place, and the only lights are from the 7 satellite truck. Let's spin the camera back around, turn the lights back on, and show you some of the damage. This is the Federal Post Office right behind me. The roof is missing, and it's laying in the parking lot. Here's half of it right there. We can tell you that there are 500,000 people who are without power in the state of Florida tonight, and the cleanup hasn't even begun.
Looks like it's gusting probably around 50 miles, 45, 50 mile an hour wind.
Hurricane Charley visited southwest Florida and left his calling card of damage behind. The storm, packing 145-mile-per-hour winds, ripped at buildings, trees, awnings, leaving parts of Fort Myers, Charlotte County, and Cape Coral in the dark. Oh, man, I didn't want to get wet this way. The storm first brushed Marco Island in Naples, bringing 75-mile-per-hour gusts and a lot of rain. This is the situation right now in Naples. We are south of where the center of the hurricane is located right now. We are hearing from emergency management crews that they got a lot of phone calls right after noon when the direction of the storm seemed to switch more toward the east. There are a lot of people on Marco Island and here on Fort Myers Beach that did not heed the warnings, and now many people are worried that they don't have any place to go. In Old Naples, close to the pier, residents who ignored evacuation orders changed their minds when Charley turned westward, many seeking shelter in parking garages.
Well, we were just kind of hanging out at the house when all of a sudden we realized we probably needed to leave the house because we were concerned about the storm surge. So this was the closest, highest ground that we could get to in a hurry.
Moving north along the coast, Charley slammed Fort Myers, ripping roofs off buildings, tearing off awnings, downing power lines, and splitting huge oaks in half. Dozens of residents who didn't evacuate raced to the beach, cameras in hand to capture Charley's power on tape. Huge waves pounded the coastline, leaving many people awestruck.
I just want to come down here and see this, probably close I'm ever going to get to something like this because I don't want to get much closer than this.
How much longer before you actually find a place of shelter and stay there while this storm comes through?
When I'm done talking to you, I'm heading back in because I got a wife and kid to think about.
Okay, within the past couple of minutes, we have seen cleanup crews moving around this downtown area. There are a lot of trees down in downtown. Of course, streets are going to have to be cleared, and we can hear some chainsaws, buzzsaws going on in the background. We can tell you that 2 hours after Hurricane Charley moved on shore, President Bush declared 4 Florida counties, Charlotte, Lee, Sarasota, and Manatee counties, federal disaster areas, and he authorized federal funds to be used to help in the cleanup and anybody who's been affected. We can also tell you that Hurricane Charley is now being blamed for 3 deaths, 2 in the state of Florida, both traffic related when the wind blew cars off the street and that car hit a tree. 1 death in Jamaica. That's the situation in Fort Myers tonight. I'm Charles Malai, 7 News at 11.
And from the city of Palms, Fort Myers, we head north now to Venice.
That's where 7's Lynn Gordon is. She continues our coverage in another area that felt the force. Lynn?
Well, Belkey's here in Venice Beach, folks are definitely breathing a sigh of relief. They feel very lucky tonight, but that's
Hurricane Charley blows into Florida's Gulf Coast, packing winds of over 140 miles per hour. The Category 4 hurricane making landfall far south of the Tampa Bay area, its projected target, instead slamming into Charlotte County, just north of Fort Myers. The storm causing considerable damage. The wind so strong it picked up this camper and tossed it on top of a car that had been next to it in the driveway. This couple was hunkered down in their home, riding out the storm when they heard the howling, then the crash.
It was pretty scary. We're from North Carolina and we've been in a lot of hurricanes, but this is the worst one.
This is one of the areas of Port Charlotte that was hit the hardest. Take a look over here. This light pole was ripped out of the ground. And over here, trees were snapped in half and uprooted. In fact, so many trees are down on this particular part of the road, much of it is blocked. All over Port Charlotte, power lines are down, streets are flooded, screened-in patios are bent and destroyed. At this lighting business on 41, the roof was ripped open and everything inside is trashed and soaking wet.
The roof is caved in over the office area there. Lights are out of the ceiling. Just a total disaster in there.
You never expected this.
Never at all, no.
And tonight we are getting reports of significant numbers of injuries in Charlotte County. That is coming from emergency management officials there. Also, a number of power outages in that area. Crews will be obviously down there trying to restore power to that area. Also, people who evacuated don't know what they will be going home to tomorrow. That is when the cleanup will begin. We are live in Venice Beach. I'm Lynn Gordon, 7 News.
And from Venice Beach, we want to head now to an area where they were expecting a direct hit.
Reporter Jonathan Seri joins us live from a very lucky Tampa this evening. Jonathan.
Belkis, a very lucky Tampa indeed. Originally they thought that the eye of the storm would head straight up Tampa Bay, in which case this area where I'm standing in downtown Tampa would be under as much as 16 feet of water. But as you can see, it's a beautiful evening and no damage to report. Not just here, but throughout the entire Tampa Bay area. No damage or power outages to report. There was one squall that came through here early in the evening, just a little bit of rain, some light winds, but nothing that you would expect from a Category 4 hurricane. The storm bypassed the Tampa Bay area and instead struck southwest Florida with a vengeance.
It was a nightmare scenario come true. Hurricane Charley took an unexpected turn, striking the Florida coast farther south and with more intensity than forecasters had originally predicted.
At approximately 3:45 p.m., the eye of Hurricane Charley came ashore very close to Sanibel Island and then into Charlotte Harbor as a 145-mile-per-hour maximum sustained wind Category 4 hurricane.
Making landfall in Charlotte Harbor, the most powerful storm in Florida since Hurricane Andrew, is working its way across the state, leaving a path of destruction in its wake, and officials trying to predict what's next.
Hurricanes aren't linear thinkers. They don't act linearly. They are fierce weather systems that don't go exactly where a computer model will suggest that they go.
In fact, other parts of the state, including Tampa, where the eye was originally expected to hit, went relatively untouched. But Charley's powerful winds whipped through the small city of Punta Gorda, causing extensive damage to the surprise of both residents and storm experts.
Hurricane forecasting is not a perfect science. There is an uncertainty to those forecasts, and we must respect Mother Nature.
And because of that uncertainty and respect, they are taking no chances. In South Carolina, the governor is already calling for evacuations of some of the low-lying areas of his state because the concern is that once Charley punches through Florida and moves out into the Atlantic, it may strengthen yet again and start threatening the coastal regions, not just of Florida, but Georgia and both Carolinas. Craig and Belkis, back to you.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Right now, what we want to do is head on over to the Satellite Center.
Yeah, 7 Sharon Melton is there with some pretty incredible pictures from this day of stormy weather. Sharon?
They're really dramatic. Tonight, we are getting a first look at just how intense the entire experience was as the eye of Charley crashed ashore.
The roar of a howling wind, a street turned into a lake. Hurricane Charley at its most destructive, up close and personal.
This is Mission Control Houston. This video of Hurricane Charley again was taken from the International Space Station.
The vastness of the storm can be seen firsthand from outer space as the huge plume of clouds blanket the entire west coast of Florida.
It's bad here. It's much worse on island.
Back here on Earth, from a roof cam, the intense hurricane nearly blocking the view of the area as Sanibel city manager talks about the weight of the storm on residents. Over 100-mile-per-hour winds whipped by this hotel, throwing around trees, nearly toppling over an 18-wheeler parked nearby. The force of the wind nearly pulling some trees from their roots. Then, all of a sudden, the unthinkable happens.
Boom. There it was. It happened pretty quickly, but the roof actually collapsed in. And
Luckily, no one was hurt. A scene repeated everywhere. People huddled up in hallways to stay safe and wait out the storm, and for good reason. Planes tossed around like toys at an airport in Charlotte County, leaving several hangars in shambles.
The effects of Hurricane Charley are really being felt on Goodland right now. Take a look at this dock over here.
Reporters from around the state revealing the destruction, encouraging everyone to stay inside. But it didn't stop the curious, or in some cases the careless, from venturing outside at their own risk.
And unfortunately, that's probably just a small part of the damage done at this point. When the sun comes up early in the morning, we could start seeing mass destruction from the Category 4 storm. Live in the Newsplex tonight, Sharon Melton, 7 News at 11.
Well, not that we want to think about it on a day like this, but Charley has some company in the tropics
Oh,
tonight.
you had to go there. There are 2 new systems taking shape. Chief Meteorologist Bill Kamal is tracking everything. Bill?
Belkis, we'll start with the Atlantic Basin, and there's Charley curving around into southwest Florida, and behind it now we have 2 more tropical depressions that were initiated today. We have TD5, which is closest to the islands, and now TD4, which has become Tropical Storm Danielle. And eventually TD5 will become Tropical Storm Earl, and there may be some watches needed for the Lesser Antilles as early as tomorrow. Now we'll go to 7 Storm Scan and show you the path of all of these. First of all, Charley, from now, which is just 10 miles to the southwest of Daytona Beach, will ride up into the South Carolina coastline, into North Carolina, Southeast Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, past west of New York City, and slowly weaken but still be a wind and rain maker way up in the northeastern United States. Now that's Charley. Let's go to TD4 now, which was TD4 a little while ago, now Danielle. This one will become a stronger tropical storm, but it will ride to the northwest and then eventually to the north into the central and North Atlantic and not bother anybody. And last but certainly not least is TD5. TD5 will eventually become Tropical Storm Earl as we get into the weekend, and then a hurricane as forecast by the National Hurricane Center. And this track will be crucial because if it goes into the Caribbean, notice this northwest nudge here, if it goes into the Caribbean, we'll have to watch it closely. If it takes that northwest turn, it is forecast to be Hurricane Earl sometime next week. Usually storms that affect Florida in August travel north of the Lesser Antilles near Puerto Rico and then north of Cuba. The only good news with this for us would be if it stays south of us and passes west, or if it gets eaten up or disrupted by the mountainous terrain of Hispaniola and Cuba. This is way out next week, too far to speculate at this point. But TD5 is the one we'll have to watch. And we'll have, of course, your South Florida weekend forecast, which thankfully is a normal Saturday, Sunday forecast in just a few minutes.
We are thankful for that. All right, Bill.
No kidding. Well, our coverage of Hurricane Charley continues in just minutes.
The storm crashing the Keys. A look at the calling card Charley left behind.
And I'm 7's Diane Fernandez, live in Pompano Beach, where early morning storms spawned by Hurricane Charley are being blamed for bringing down this huge tree. That story coming up.
Damage and destruction to our west, but exactly how much? Local rescue crews on their way right now to survey and plan.
También impactados Los Cayos antes de entrar a Everglades City y Fort Myers con una marejada ciclónica de hasta 8 pies de altura. Y por cierto, estoy muy curioso de ver los daños causados por esa marea de la tormenta, ras de mar, marejada ciclónica, como usted prefiera llamarle, porque hemos visto los daños de los vientos, como nos mostró Claudine Caro, pero seguramente ha habido serios daños debido al mar penetrando la costa. Bueno, aquí en el área metropolitana de Miami y Fort Lauderdale, la verdad es que fue un día relativamente tranquilo. Sí hubo brisa con suficientes ráfagas para alcanzar hasta 45 millas por hora en Boca Ratón, 43 aquí en Miramar, en los estudios de Telemundo 51, y en Shenandoah, con algo de lluvia, 41 millas por hora las ráfagas hoy. Las temperaturas están calientes, 85 grados a esta hora en Miami Beach y Fort Lauderdale, 84 Miami y Hialeah, pero el viento ya ha aflojado, está del sureste 7 millas por hora y la presión barométrica está subiendo. La acumulación de lluvia en Fort Lauderdale, 41 centésimas, y como no llovió tanto, la temperatura subió a 91, también 91 grados en Miami con poco menos de media pulgada de lluvia. Aquí va entonces Charley hacia el noreste con la nubosidad, sí, cubriéndonos a nosotros, pero amigos, ya quedaron descontinuadas todas y cada una de las advertencias, todas las vigilancias, todos los avisos, todo lo que estaba en vigor para el sur de la Florida, incluyendo las inundaciones, los tornados, los fuertes vientos, todo eso está descontinuado. Mañana va a ser un día relativamente normal. Hay riesgo de lluvia mañana, sencillamente debido a la humedad que deja atrás el huracán y la inestabilidad del verano, pero no más allá que la lluvia normal que se vería en un día de verano en nuestra área. Bueno, la depresión tropical número 5 es esta. La tormenta tropical Daniel es esta otra, inaugurando la temporada de Cabo Verde, una tormenta actualmente de intensidad mínima. Esta es la proyección de trayectoria, no de Daniel, que Daniel está a 2 semanas de camino de cualquier punto terrestre. Esta es la trayectoria de lo que sería la depresión tropical 5, convirtiéndose en Earl, es el próximo nombre a ser utilizado. De aquí el miércoles, otra vez trabajando aquí en Telemundo 51 para mantenerlos al tanto de lo que pueda ocurrir. Bueno, mañana, como dije, riesgo de algunas tormentas en la tarde, mientras que en el mar sigue la advertencia para
tiny coastal Port Charlotte into a scene of devastation.
We all just sat in the middle of the hallway with a mattress over us. All of us got in the middle, and we seen the back porch come. The whole ceiling came down.
There were tears at the Harborview Christian Church and School, where buildings were reduced to piles of wood, but at least nobody was inside.
Buildings can be rebuilt, things can be replaced. It's going to take a while, but, you know, we'll do it.
Earlier down the road in Fort Myers, the rain was still being whipped by the dying winds of Charley as he moved along, leaving less structural damage here, but no less of a mess. The rain bands continue to come in. This was one of the best-known spots in Fort Myers, the old winter home of Thomas Edison. But look at this. There are so many branches and trees down now, you can't even see the house. Out on I-75, 3 tractor-trailer trucks were lined up like a row of fallen dominoes. All 3 drivers, though, were okay.
It's very dangerous. That's the reason I went ahead and stayed up under a bridge and waited for all this to blow over, because I'm sitting empty. I never would have made it this far, So these guys kind of took a chance, but luckily they didn't get hurt. Otherwise, it would have been a lot worse than what it turned out to be.
People here expected a storm, but thought Tampa was the target, not Port Charlotte.
I didn't think it was going to come right over, like, exactly here. But, yeah, I was kind of surprised. Nobody thought it was going to be that big of a deal until right when it happened, so it's pretty bad.
Damage here is expected to be in the millions in this area where the storm came ashore. Walking around here, you see the same sort of look on the faces of the people here as you did right after Hurricane Andrew. One woman came up to me and said, "How quickly do you think the power will be restored?" Just a few feet away from her, power lines were down. It was hard to have the heart to tell her it would not be days. More likely, it could be weeks. Governor Bush is expected to tour the area by helicopter sometime tomorrow. And when the sun comes up, we will get our first real look around the area to see how bad this storm damage really is.
Rather quickly, I noticed the size of the hurricane really shrinking. That's the difference between a Category 4, a major hurricane, down to a 1, 85-mile-an-hour sustained winds now. As Charley finally exits Florida, it goes back over Atlantic water before quickly moving into the Carolinas and the East Coast. You can see all the heavy rainfall falling again on the northeastern shores of Florida all the way up to Jacksonville. And again, one more time, the Tight View, Daytona, Ormond Beach really seeing the brunt of Hurricane Charley right now. We want to continue to concentrate on the tropics because as of 11 o'clock tonight, a new tropical storm, Danielle, brewing off the Cape Verde Islands in Africa. Also, tropical depression number 5. Even though it's only a depression, this is where I want to focus the attention first tonight. Right now, 30-mile-per-hour sustained winds, still 2,450 miles away from Miami, Florida, so a lot of water between the current location and where Miami's at. Now, why I want to talk about this one, notice the path, and forecasted to be a hurricane by Wednesday afternoon around Jamaica, taking an eerily similar path to what Charley just did. So even though this is a good ways out and the cone of air very large, we're going to have to continue to watch not only tropical depression number 5, but now the 4th named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, Tropical Storm Danielle, 40-mile-per-hour sustained winds, moving off to the west of 15. The good news for Danielle, it's going to take a north and westerly track, so it looks like, again, this one will not be a problem for the coastal U.S., at least from South Carolina southward, but again, a long ways out. We'll continue to monitor.
From ABC News. This is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
It's late, it's dark, and they won't begin to know the full extent of the disaster until damage assessment teams spread out after daylight. But Florida Governor Jeb Bush has somehow pulled the sum of $15 billion out of Hurricane Charley's wake and is estimating that the ultimate cost could well exceed that amount. He's already been in touch with his brother, the president, who has declared the storm-battered region a federal disaster area. The Category 4 storm slammed into the Gulf Coast of west central Florida with winds of up to 145 miles an hour. That, combined with a high tide, created a wall of water 15 feet high. At this hour, the storm is in the Orlando region, heading north. Expecting the worst, the folks at Disney World, Universal Orlando, and SeaWorld Orlando closed down early this afternoon. We're going to give you an update of how things are in the hurricane's wake, what Orlando is going through right now, and where the storm is headed over the next couple of days. And then a complete change of tempo as we offer an appreciation of a great lady, Julia Child, a.k.a. the French chef, who died yesterday at the age of 91. But first, it's Hurricane Charley. Port Charlotte was one of the first towns hit by the storm. Ross Cavett of our affiliate WSB is there. And Ross, by sort of focusing on what is behind you, give us a sense of what is all around you up and down the Gulf Coast.
Well, this is what used to be an auto parts store here, Ted, in Port Charlotte. The roof was peeled off as the eye of the hurricane went overhead. The front then caved in and the contents inside were all tossed around. It's a scene you see for several miles as you come into the Port Charlotte area heading over to Punta Gorda. A very narrow path of extremely serious damage here as the 145-mile-an-hour winds hit this area along with that storm surge. Many of the residents I talked to said they believe they saw several tornadoes wrapped in these winds as well that did some of this damage. Perhaps a larger percentage of residents were here to witness this hurricane than might be a normal scenario because most of the folks here thought this would be a Tampa Bay event. But as we know, Hurricane Charley had other ideas, turned right during the day and hit this area head on.
I know there's been a tremendous amount of property damage. Ross, what about loss of life?
Well, we haven't heard any confirmed reports of fatalities yet, but I will tell you in the few hours that existed between Charley's exit here and the sunset, we heard firefighters scrambling to check some of the heavily damaged areas, and they were not able to get into those many areas. They worry what they might find when the sun comes up tomorrow. Hospitals were also hard hit, and it's unclear how many casualties there have been or if there have been any fatalities here.
Ross Cavett, many thanks. Hurricane Charley has just passed through the Orlando area. We turn now to reporter Cynthia Demas from our affiliate WFTV. I know it's dark, you can't see much, but what can you tell us about what has happened in Orlando? You weren't really expecting this, were you?
No, we weren't. And actually, a lot of the people from the West Coast ended up coming inland to try and escape the storm, but they ended up getting right in its path. Earlier, just about 2 hours ago, when we were really getting hit by the storm here, I could actually lean into the wind and it would actually hold me up. That's how strong it was out here. Right now, we're looking at aftermath, a lot of debris on the ground, a lot of trees down. Pretty much all the power in the area is out. I did get a chance to drive around just a little bit, and we did find that a lot of branches and those missiles that are created during this situation did go through a lot of people's windows. So a lot of people out there trying to board up at this late night hour, Ted.
But in terms of what happened along the Gulf Coast, it doesn't sound as though Orlando has been quite as badly hit.
No, well, fortunately for us at least, you know, when a hurricane hits land, it tends to slow down. So in Osceola County, which is where Disney World is, it was about 80 miles an hour. By the time it got a little further north into Orlando, it was about 105 miles per hour. So for us, we were looking at a Category 2 storm instead of Category 4, which Charley was as he approached. Ted?
Cynthia Demas, thanks very much indeed. Max Mayfield is the director of the National Hurricane Center. He is in Miami. Max, give us a sense of what the immediate future of the storm is.
Well, you can see the pretty ragged center that's left now exiting or just about ready to exit the Florida East Coast in the vicinity of Daytona Beach. It will continue moving rapidly up the eastern seaboard. By tomorrow morning, we'll likely be just off the South Carolina coast. Tomorrow afternoon, likely near the South Carolina-North Carolina border, and continue northeastern from there. We're very concerned now with the, in fact, I should point this out, the hurricane warning now goes all the way up from the Florida coast to Oregon Inlet in North Carolina. Near and to the east, or where the center crosses the coast up there, we need to be concerned about the storm surge flooding there. We could have 8 to 10 feet of storm surge up there in the Carolinas. We don't think it's going to regain strength to a major hurricane, but we don't want to minimize even a Category 1 or possibly a Category 2 hurricane.
Max, in the few seconds that we have left, just put sort of a few time hacks on this. When can we expect it in the mid-Atlantic states, for example? When can they expect it in the Northeast, and what will be left of it?
Okay, sure. I think by the time it gets onto the coast here early tomorrow afternoon, we'll be right about here. By 8 p.m., likely over northeastern North Carolina, and then we'll be losing tropical characteristics, be down to a tropical storm. As it moves on up here by Sunday morning, we'll be up in the Long Island